it's crazy how it can be sometimes.
Yeah, well, and it's something I've thought about a lot, that this like compulsion nowadays, because of like how everything is like constantly advancing so fast, and how there's just more and more of it, seemingly like an endless stream of everything. This like compulsion we all have to just like fill all of our time with something.
Yeah.
Like I have that, where it's like I need to be consuming something at all times.
Yeah.
And so that's what, and so now there's like this supply and demand. Now there's a demand for content, and then I supply it, you supply it, the Crowder boys supply it. All of us are existing in the marketplace of content. Uh, how valuable any of it is, I don't know. Like, is it enriching anyone's life in any way, or are we just like, is it the equivalent to junk food almost?
I got worn out. Like maybe like 2 days ago, I went to put on podcasts and I didn't want to have anything on. I tried to listen to music and I hated everything. And
Yeah,
I just lived in silence for the day. And then I slept that night for like 14 hours. And then I woke up like refreshed.
yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I can listen and like stuff again. But I went in like a 24-hour spiral and I just lived in silence. And it actually was kind of refreshing. I got to hear my own thoughts again.
Yeah, I have days like that sometimes where, especially because my day job is on the phone, so I'm just like constantly hearing smoke detectors and children screaming and people chewing me out. Yeah, that's what I need to buy myself for Christmas, is a whole setup so I could work my soundboard again.
Yeah, it's so funny. I wanted to on Halloween. I had a second costume where I had a black charcoal face mask on, and I had a whole bit I was going to do on Troy's show, and this was the sound effect that I pulled because I
Nice.
just wanted to do this as I was on air. But him and his other guests started talking about like their childhoods and stuff, and I was like, oh, I can't come back and do this bit now. They're like crying about their fathers passing away and stuff, and I'm going to be doing like an actual minstrel show when I come back. So like that's not going to work.
Dude, I remember one time when I was I'll say teenager. This might have happened when I was an adult, but my dad had found somewhere two like gollywog lawn statues.
Like Whoopi Goldberg owns.
Yeah, like full on like I don't know if you'll get this reference, but they look like Mr. Popo from Dragon Ball Z.
I don't get that reference. I actually know exactly the lawn ornaments you're talking
about.
Yeah.
They were like two full on like Heckle and Jekyll. You know, like, and I don't know where he had found them, but he put them out in the like the front porch. Yeah. And I remember like me and my mom were like, yo, what are you doing? He was like, I found these antiques. And we were like, these yeah, these are antiques. There's a reason nobody makes these anymore.
It's a couple of years ago, you know, Elizabeth Warren, obviously, she's Pocahontas. And yes. So I used to keep an eye on her because I lived in Massachusetts and she was always trying to fuck my life up. And they had her in her kitchen filming, and when she had back on her like hutch behind her, like two like African Americans with the big face eating watermelon, like salt and pepper shakers on her thing. And they're like, oh, so let's see how she didn't even like know to hide it. And she's Mrs. like proper and calling everybody racist.
Dude, my Uncle Billy, his whole house is decorated with that. Like he's got fucking like old advertisements. Like like when you go into a Cracker Barrel, but it's like actual
a Cracker Barrel.
Yeah. You know, like when you go to Cracker Barrel and it's all just like old like
cracker ass Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, it's all old ads for like it'd be like a tin, like a steel John Deere sign they have bolted into the wall, and a tricycle on the ceiling or whatever. My uncle has like all that kind of stuff, but actual old racist advertisements for watermelons and shit, where it's like blackface children. Yeah.
Instead of collecting Nintendo 64, he's collecting old racist advertising.
Yeah, Yeah, he has like old racist ads for like cigarettes and candy and shit
He's like,
that.
I'm autistic. He's like, I'm autistic for old racist advertising. Leave me
Yeah,
alone.
he does. Yeah, he doesn't even know that. He doesn't even know he's autistic. He thinks it's the Agent Orange from Vietnam, but
Yeah, it's probably a
he's
little bit of
actually
both.
just it's probably both. It's amazing he's not dead. Like he's in his 70s. He was exposed to Agent Orange, when he fought in Vietnam, and he's had melanoma because he's a farmer. He's had melanoma like 20 times, and he's still somehow, in defiance of God, like alive.
It's the racist artwork, dude. It keeps him kicking, dude.
The
Gives him
racism,
something to live for, dude.
yeah, that's what that Brian Johnson guy, that billionaire, should look into racism.
It keeps you alive, dude.
For his
It
health
gives you
and
a drive.
longevity. Yeah.
Yeah. Drew Huntley, the super chat.
Oh, Drew Huntley with 999. Sacred Geometry by Melachesh. It sounds Jewish. Song request. Shout out Christmas. Shout out Shouting Out. Shout at the Devil.
Boo.
We'll keep that in mind. We might do a little song by his request, but we're
Zip
great.
and stop. I was cracking myself up earlier because it's just going to be two of us. I was like, two people doing zip zap and stop.
Oh, it happens, man. The biggest improv performance in the world is the duo TJ and Dave.
Yeah.
They're probably like the most renowned improv guys amongst improvisers. They may not have achieved the success of Whose Line, but in terms of like I don't know, like a touring improv group, those are the two.
Well, it's just funny because when it's three people, it's like it's jumping around and you don't know who it's going to be. But when it's just two, you know who the other person is that's throwing it back to you.
Sure.
So you're doing like zip. So it's just zap. Wait, I messed it up. And I just kept laughing at a guy that can't do zip, zap, zop with two people. I don't know why it's cracking me up.
But what's important to remember is improv is gay and it sucks. So it's not even important.
Well, I had a yoga instructor that was kind of cute, and she was Greek and she was flexible. And I got to know her a little bit better, and she was just a terrible person that I didn't like. But anyways, she was in an improv group, and when I hear improv, I was like, oh, she's into comedy. So I was like, let me go check that out. And then I watched it, and I was like, oh, this was not funny at all. And then she was like, well, it's not about being funny. It's just about improvisation.
Right.
And I was like, you're right. But I hear improv and I want it to be funny. And she was just like, no, don't you think it's just cool that we can just do that off the cuff? And I'm like, yes, like every child in the whole world has done that at one time in their life.
Yeah, you're giving yourself a little too much credit for the fact that, you just thought of it on the spot. It's like, yeah, man, every fucking construction site is doing improv then, and they're 1,000 times funnier than you are.
Yeah. Like if you have a goal of like being funny, then you have to have a visceral reaction of laughter, which is the proof in the pudding that the improv laugh like comedy is working. And if you're just like, I'm going to go up here and do improv and it doesn't have to be anything but improv, it's like, okay, well, don't bring an audience then.
Yeah.
You guys can just hang out and do that, and you're going to build your confidence, but don't trick me into coming to
that's why a lot of people get into it, is not even necessarily to become performers. It's to develop, like, they want to work on their confidence or their public speaking abilities or something like that. And so there's like places all over the country, they'll fleece them out of thousands of dollars to teach them improv, I mean, I took 2 levels at one point, and I remember that's one of the things they say is like, when we were children, we all knew how to play. Yeah. But as we grew up, somewhere along the way, we lost that ability to play, and we're here to relearn how to play with each other. Zip.
Zop.
Zap. Zop. That'll be $1,200.
And the big one, isn't the big one still fleecing people where they take money and they don't pay the performers? The one that
no one pays anybody. They charge you probably at least $1,000 a level. Yeah. So a lot of the places have at least 5 levels. Some places do 6. Who knows how high it goes? So you're going to pay at least $5,000 to get through all of them, and then they allow you to form a team and maybe start doing shows, they're never going to pay you to actually perform those shows.
Well, they suck, so I don't really think they should be paid in most spots.
And the shows suck.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy like Whose Line It Is It Anyways, and I've seen like Todd Barry live do like crowd work. And then that other guy, Jonah, whatever. I've caught the end of some of his stuff. The guy that was on 30 Rock.
Oh, Judah Friedlander.
Yeah. And so
there's a difference between improvised.
That's difficult. I can see how that's difficult.
There's a difference between improvised comedy and improv. Like, if you see a stand-up comedian go on stage and riff, that's still like improv is specifically just like a gay activity. It's just like there's like even Whose Line is like it's like that's short form improv. Those are like games.
Yeah.
Like the improv people that are in the improv and about it and all that, they actually look down their nose at Whose Line. They go, oh, that's not really, that's a misrepresentation of what we do. Because they do like long form stuff, which is like if you go to an improv theater, you realize like, oh, so you do like the worst version. You
do it until you're like, okay, I'm already bored with that. I'm like, oh, good, because we're gonna do 15 more minutes.
Yeah, you do a version of it that sucks.
Yeah, we're gonna go deeper and deeper until everybody's completely checked out.
Yeah, but I mean, look, it makes people happy, and in my experience, I've seen mostly what it does for people is it's brought people together and they've fallen in love and gotten married. Because the improv club where I'm from in Dallas, there were so many people that came through those improv classes that as they kept performing together and doing shows and going there week after week, would just like end up falling in love with each other and then getting married, like moving in together, getting married and having kids. I was like, well, I guess like this is cool because this doesn't in stand up. People will have like hook up and then just hate each other forever.
Yeah,
So I mean, good for them. Whatever makes you happy, That's what I learned recently. I just got into an argument about this with Crack on the Patreon for the Crowder Boys we just recorded. They'll be coming out Wednesday because Wednesday is Christmas, so we're going to be out. We pre-taped a Patreon, and this is a little preview of that.
A little wrapped gift, if you will, for Christmas morning for all you guys to open up.
It'll be the Patreon for the Crowder, patreon.com/Crowder Boys. We got a big bonus Christmas spooktacular coming that we just recorded. But I've started to like relinquish like myself. I've started to sort of relent to just how would I describe this? Just like happiness, I guess. Like what makes people happy. Because I listened to the album Brat by Charlie XCX.
I just finished the Crowder Boys. I mean the Cornfed with you and you and Sal did, and I watched that. Oh my God. I was like, this is not real. This reminds me of like Rebecca Black Friday.
You saw, which is a good song. It's a banger. So you saw me discover Brat.
I discovered it at the same time. And I was just looking at it. I'm like, I think I'm turning gay. Like I'm not attracted to these women. These women are I'm like literally repelled by the type of women that were in that video.
I will say the women in the video, including Charlie XCX, but especially all of the other, whatever they are, whores. They all look gross. They all look sickly and diseased.
Yeah,
they do look. It's concerning.
They look like extras in the Lost Boys, like the vampire movie. Yeah, it was like freaking me out. I was like, this is not something that like gets me excited.
Yeah, they look like cyberpunk vampires or something.
Yeah,
but the song, when I discovered it last night, I enjoyed it, and then I went through and listened to the album, and I just sort of I had this moment of like letting go, where I said, you know what, if this is making me happy and making people, if I could like truly just let go, like relinquish myself to the Brat and understand like this is making people happy, why is that? Is making me happy now because it's fun. I now have a better understanding of just like, hey, just let people enjoy things.
Yeah, I remember we used to go to my buddy's house like almost like every night of the week, and his wife would play music and we watched the game outside in this like deck or whatever. And then it would turn into like the game would go over and it'd just be like all our friends hanging out, and the girls would put on these terrible like pop songs. And I just be these are awful. And I remember my buddy's wife just saying, like, can't you just have fun? Like it's just supposed to be fun. Not every song has to be meaningful. And so
Yeah,
I was like, okay, I guess I can shut my brain off. So I was like, that's why you see these big dumb oafs with these hot chicks, because they're able to just be stupid
yeah,
dumb,
just
and
cut
they're
loose.
able to improv basically in real life and
That's what I'm saying. Like
be childish.
I lived my whole life resisting and being a contrarian and being kind of cynical and dissecting and deconstructing everything. And then eventually I horseshoed back around and just like, yeah, just try to enjoy it. You know, this is the first time any of us have ever been alive. It's the only time, to my knowledge,
Yes.
that we're alive. It's this one chance, this one experience. Just, is the most, more than anything, just try to enjoy it, baby. Be Brat.
I brought this up a couple times on here, but this is technically Bible study. Cornfed is
Yes.
Jesse Lee Peterson, that the black guy that was being on a plantation.
Yes.
Uh, he's pretty funny. I don't think people give him enough credit that he's being comical and entertaining. They take him way too serious. But anyways, he always talks about one of the things that really hit me that he talks about a couple times was just giving in to God, not fighting God. And like fighting it is like, oh, this is happening, so I'm supposed to feel or be like this, or this is happening, so this is how I'm supposed to feel or act. And if you just let go and be who you are in like that moment without, you don't want to fall into temptation, obviously. But if you're being good and you're living well, like why do you fight dancing and being happy when like, your instinct is to be happy? God's trying to make you happy.
Mm-hmm.
And so many times you're just like, people are around, so you're just fighting, even fighting to laugh. Like Rick Glassman will do these bits, and
Dave,
you're like, oh, I'm going to tell you a joke to make you laugh. Go
I
ahead.
think I know what you're saying.
Okay.
Dance like no one is watching.
Yes. Live, laugh, love, Dalton.
Live, laugh, love. All the decorations they sell at Hobby Lobby are true. Those are truisms. Those are universal truths.
But it's like, yeah, I wish it was that simple. There's a Rick Glassman bit where he's got like these two guys on, and they're like these two big black guys. He's like, hey, you want me to show you a joke, how to make somebody laugh? And he just walks over with his keys, and I don't have my keys, but he just jingles them in front of the guys like this, like he's doing a little baby joke.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't laugh. And then he's like, of course it's Rick. So then he's like, oh, that's interesting. And he turns it into like a bit that he's like being a therapist. But it is funny that it was a funny joke, but they held back their laughter rather than laugh. So that they chose to be unhappy to like prove a point. And I think a lot of us do that in a lot of ways.
There are some things I legitimately just cannot enjoy where I go, this is in such defiance of good taste that it's angering me.
Yeah.
Like I tried to watch Deadpool and Wolverine, and I toughed it out for about 40 minutes, and I said, I cannot handle this anymore. This is so bad. It's bothering me how bad this is. Which is, I kind of enjoyed the first two Deadpools, but that one was one of the worst piles of slop I've seen. And that word gets tossed around a lot now, slop.
Yeah.
That was actually like, a Midwest casserole of slop, dude.
Well, are they here's the thing, are they on a global stage now? I always think about this. Like when they make these movies, they're not just trying to sell them to us anymore. It's like the Marvel movies go to China, and they go to China and all over the world. So they have to make this like really watered down universal slop that they can move around a little bit.
But the thing is that movie specifically, though, at least as far as the American version, I don't know what they saw in China, is not like watered down necessarily. It's got cussing in it and racy humor. It's just obnoxious. It's just constant quips and cameos and references to other things.
Yeah.
And it feels completely soulless. There was nothing enjoyable about it. And particularly Ryan Reynolds' acting ability, his performance, his sense of humor is so exhausting. It's just a chore to have to hear that guy do anything. I was like, I can't watch this.
You've seen Apocalypto?
I love Apocalypto.
Yeah, it's like one of my favorite movies, and I was surprised to hear certain people haven't seen it. But anyways, what's great about that movie is so many of the scenes they just let him breathe. Like there's so much space in between, like any sort of conversation that goes on in the movie, where they're treating the audience as intelligent to figure out what's going on. And even the emotions of the child and whatever, just like zoom ups and breathing and hiding and the camera angles. And so when you're explaining, Deadpool to me, I'm just picturing it's the exact opposite. Like they're spoon feeding the entire audience. Like they have to explain everything all the time down, minutely.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, the character itself is one of the Marvel characters that is like meta, like he breaks the fourth wall and talks to the audience. So, I mean, it's not even just that, like the text of the movie, like the dialogue and characters are explaining it through the story being told.
Yeah.
Deadpool just looks at the screen and talks to you to explain it to you himself. Like everything's happening.
Do they even make a lot of money? Supposedly, like TJ Miller was
$1 billion.
TJ Miller was on Skanks, and he was claiming he only got like $75K for his Deadpool appearance.
The first two Deadpool movies, for like big budget superhero movies, were kind of lower budget because it was still a relatively maybe not unknown character, but as far as like the populace, the masses probably aren't too familiar with Deadpool by the time Deadpool 1 and 2 come out, right?
Yeah.
And they were with Fox also, so smaller studio than Disney. And so they probably were not allocating a lot of money. Probably most of the budget for those movies probably went to Ryan Reynolds' salary.
Yeah.
Now that Disney bought Fox and they're like officially Disney movies, they sink like $200 million into the movie, and then it makes $1 billion, and Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, everyone makes,
and it'll be in syndicate on Disney Plus.
It's on Disney Plus, all the streaming. Yeah. So, so it's, the stuff like that, I just can't bring myself to enjoy. But as far as the zeitgeist goes, I try to check in. What are the people into? I'm Brat now. I am Brat.
I thought that it's funny that you're just saying that now, because I do remember that people saying that when Kamala was
and that some people say that was the end of Brat Summer when Charlie XCX tweeted Kamala is so Brat.
Yeah.
That marked the end of Brat Summer.
So when I heard about that tweet, and I'm just watching online with absolutely no context, I just thought immediately, my first thought was the campaign reached out to her and said, we'll pay you X amount of dollars for a tweet. It can be anything you want, but it has to be positive about Kamala, and you can take it from there. And I think she got paid like in my mind, she got paid $100K to tweet out Kamala is Brat.
Yeah.
To all her fans. And that's just the world that we live in. It's like, Camacha is like doing Gatorade commercials.
That is, by the way, that is the
masturbating in Starbucks.
The real genius of Charlie XCX and Brat, that album, is the marketing. Like, that was and continues to be like a brilliant marketing campaign. Because like by the way, welcome to Cornfed Bible Study, everybody. We're talking about Brat.
So obnoxious.
The album cover is this like hyper minimalist, like no effort. It's just a green, like some sort of like some sort of lime green with like a Arial text, lowercase. It just says Brat. It looks like
it said fat. I got it now.
the
that's
thumbnail. The
smart.
thumbnail I made says fat. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? When I made that, I googled Brat Brat cover generator or whatever, and there was an official Charlie XCX website where you can make your own Brat cover. And even on the website, it wasn't something where you could make it and save the image. The website just said, "Yeah, type in the words and take a screenshot." There was no way to actually save it. You just had a screenshot with your phone. So the whole like marketing campaign seems to be this like fusion of low effort minimalism with hyper driven marketing.
So, I didn't know this was her. I do remember you guys all posting her in this dress that's like see through. But I just didn't know who it was. I just didn't pay any attention. I just thought, and I'm looking at some of these other things, but the pictures of her where she doesn't have much makeup on and she's very plain, she looks so much better.
Yeah.
So she looks better when she just has like her hair down and curly and like a normal dress on. But everything else, she's like we were saying, this cyberpunk like vampire
she
looking.
cakes on all
I don't
this
think
makeup.
it's attractive.
She cakes on all this makeup to the point where she looks like boiled or maybe air fried. she looks cooked.
And she's probably like 21 and she looks like she's 35.
No, she's actually in her late 30s, I think.
Okay. Yeah, she looks old.
Yeah, she's not. But that's a funny thing about her. She's not actually of the age, like Brat age. I think she's not like early 20s or anything. She's well into her 30s.
Do I need to look up her early life?
Maybe, dude. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the album, and some things, just because like something is super popular or consumerist doesn't necessarily make it immediately bad. Because Michael in the chat mentioned something that's I don't see where he put it, but anyway, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 just came out, and those movies are works of art, and they're very popular. Mass appeal, designed to try to have the broadest appeal possible.
Yeah,
those are brilliant movies. They're very good. So
I just heard somebody just tweeting out today that Sonic the 3 was really good.
I think it was Lemaire, but I haven't seen it yet. When the first one came out, I remember watching it just out of curiosity, like, let's see how bad this is. And I was shocked that not only was it not bad, I enjoyed it.
And it's like Jim Carrey's best work of his life, people are saying.
The performances by Jim Carrey have only gotten better in the subsequent movies. Like, he's great in the first one. The second one is such an evolution of the Dr. Robotnik character. He's so good in them.
The amount of people that have come up to me and tell me that I look like the villain in Sonic is crazy.
You do look like a very unkempt Robotnik, because Robotnik has like a big mustache but not a full beard.
Yeah,
but the bald head and everything else. Yeah.
So it happened first time in Utah because I was like out on ATVs and it's super dusty, so I had these big goggles on to protect me from the dust.
Yeah.
And these two little kids came up and said something to me. And then I was at the grocery store waiting in line, and there was like a young lady working the register, and she's like kind of smiling and like looking at me and stuff. And I was like looking behind me and stuff, and she keeps smiling and looking at me, and she's ringing the stuff up. I'm like, I guess I still got it. And I was like, maybe I'll say something to her. Right before I left, she's like, have you ever seen the movie Sonic? And I was like, heartbroken. I was like, yes, I know. I look just like him.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, in the first movie, he doesn't necessarily look like the video game character. It's like kind of an approximation of it, where it's still like very dapper Jim Carrey. The second movie, he starts to like more mimic Robotnik in the game. Like, he's gone bald. He's got the ridiculous mustache, but he's still very fit.
Yeah.
And then the third movie, it looks like he's gone full Dr. Eggman, where he's fat as shit.
So I wasn't sure of I couldn't remember the legacy of it, and I only played like Sonic 1 through 3, and then I had the Knuckles expansion. But I know that the franchise went on after those regular Sega Saturn.
Oh, they've never stopped making them. I mean, it started to diminish in quality, the games. Like, when I was a kid, the Dreamcast came out, and they released I think there had been 3D Sonic games before, I think, but this was like the first like big 3D Sonic release that I remember was Sonic Adventure. And the Dreamcast was so expensive at the time that the only way I got to play it was at the kiosk at Funko Land, where they had the the controller bolted into it. Remember those?
Yeah.
And I remember just like standing in a Funko Land for like hours playing the Sonic Adventure demo because it was like the coolest thing ever. And those were that one and the second one, Sonic Adventure 2, probably for a while the last two good games they had made, and then it's just years of awful video games after that for Sonic.
So I wasn't sure at first. So I always thought it was just Dr. Robotnik, but I guess so he evolves into Eggman. They're one and the same.
Well, that's like what Sonic and the team call him, as like a pejorative, is Dr. Eggman.
Gotcha. When he's fat.
His official Christian name is Dr. Robotnik.
Gotcha. That's what I didn't know. I didn't know if like he started off one way and evolved over the years.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's just that's what Sonic say to him as an insult. They call him Dr. Eggman because he resembles an egg.
Yeah, he's bald and he's getting round. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's read a Bible verse. I got a paragraph here.
Yeah, let's do it.
I let the Lord guide my hand. By the way, and just to I don't want anyone to think that this is insincere. We're being flippant or what's the word I'm looking for? Sarcastic in our reading of the Bible. It's just we meander through topics. But this is Cornfed Bible Study, and so something I like to do is just open up and see where the Lord guides me. My pastor used to do this when I was a kid, or so he says. He may have already picked them out. I don't know. But I generally just opened up to this. This is the first paragraph of Ezekiel chapter 33. So this is verses 1 through 6. Again, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, when I bring the sword upon a land, if the people of the land take a man of their coasts and set him for their watchman, if when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people, then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning, if the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head. He heard the sound of the trumpet and took not warning. His blood shall be upon him. But he that taketh warning shall deliver his soul. But if the watchman see the sword come and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, if the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at the watchman's hand. Amen. So, what does that mean? I know that Go Set a Watchman is from To Kill a Mockingbird. I know it from that.
I was reading along as you were going through.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's saying, if God's righteousness and wrath be upon us, then it's the duty of the watchman to sound the alarm for everybody. And those that hear the trumpet yet ignore it, the blood is on their head. But those that don't hear the trumpet, I guess it's cool. Is they didn't hear it, and if the watchman does not blow the trumpet, if he hears the sword coming and doesn't tell everyone, then it's the blood, his iniquity, his blood. Yeah. So that's why we be telling everybody about I don't know, Soros, and we try to warn people. We sound the trumpets. Peter Thiel.
Yeah, I think it's also So I'm reading it here in the corner, and it just kind of sounds to me like you're supposed to speak the word of God, and that if you don't, and other people fail that are around you, then it's just as much your responsibility that they fail that you didn't speak the word to help them as it is their responsibility.
Oh yeah,
Like to
that's a better
warn other.
That's a better
That's
interpretation.
how I'm taking it. Like, because it's like your duty to speak the word to help other people, and if they fall, if they fall because you didn't warn them, then you fall as well.
Right.
Yeah.
I was interpreting it much more schizophrenically, which is if you see that there's bad actors and malefactors and suspect that there may be some sort of sinister intent meant to subjugate us and cause us harm, it's up to us to warn people about those those sorts of bad actors like George Soros and Peter Thiel and all the early lifers.
Yeah.
But that's my very online rotted brain. I think yours is a much more generous and probably righteous interpretation, which is that the onus is on those that hear the word of God to then tell people about it, and then to behave as such, to live one's life in that way, and then anyone who does hear it and ignores it, that's their head.
I'm going on here and I'm reading 10 through 20, and now it switches back, and it's talks about personal responsibility. So it seems like it's talking about different roles here. Like the first 1 through 9 is like the role of the watchman, and then 10 through I'm up to about 15 now. It looks like he's talking about personal responsibility. Like God wants everybody to be responsible for their own actions, and the righteous person turns to sin, they're going to face their own consequences, and it's their fault. So you got to speak the word to help other people, because if you don't, then they fail, then you also fail. But then it goes back and says that, pretty much saying now, like, but that doesn't absolve the individual person of their own responsibility and
Talk the
actions that they have
talk
to do it as well.
and walk the walk.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm kind of digging versus the fall of Jerusalem.
All right, Dave.
This is that's verses 22. Wait, we can go through this. We can go a little bit. You want to do you did up to 9, right?
That was 1 through 6. I just read.
Okay, because it seems like so. I think I have a lot of reading comprehension difficulty with the Bible, kind of like Shakespeare.
Yeah, well,
But I think it's good. It's left for interpretation so that you can have like discussions with your boys about it.
Yeah, it's definitely open to interpretation, and it's also like the thing with Shakespeare is like Shakespeare is actually easy to read. It's easy to understand once you begin to grasp the time and place and language being used, because it was written in English, and so it's like timeless. That's why you have like these adaptations that work really well, where they'll set it in the present day, but it still uses the original script.
Yeah,
like the Baz Luhrmann Romeo and Juliet with DiCaprio and all them.
I was thinking of the Othello with John Leguizamo.
John Leguizamo's in Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, he is. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, I think he plays Othello in that. Maybe that's his character.
I'm not too well versed on Shakespeare, but the Shakespeare I've read is like I get it because it's like written in English. The issue with the Bible, I think where people can find it confounding, is it's not only old language. It's not the original. It's a translation of a translation that you're usually reading. Like it was originally probably spoken in like Aramaic or something.
Yeah.
And then transcribed initially in Hebrew and
Greece
and
Greece
Greek.
did one. Yeah.
Yeah, so by the time you get it in English, it's like if you like put something through Google Translate and run it back and forth a few times to where it eventually becomes incomprehensible.
So I had this talk with my buddy who he's like 65. I tried to convince him to do podcasting, but he studied the King James Bible for 30 years and did missions and ran a parish and all that stuff. And we were just talking because I don't really drink that much, and he drinks. And he's like, "Well, they drink in the Bible," and I was like, "But do they?" And I was like, because he takes everything very literally when he reads it. But I was like, what if Jesus was just so dope that like when you laughed and had fun and relaxed with him when you were drinking water as if it was wine? You know what I mean? Because I'm like, you could interpret it like that. You know what I mean? Like, just imagine some dude that's so dope and so cool that you hang out with them. They says he changed water into wine. He's like, but they're actually all just drinking water, but like celebrating and joyous and feeling light and happy and
I
excited
think the
to be with one
Bible
another.
specifically at one point does say basically please drink responsibly.
Yeah.
I think it does make mention of like, go ahead, have a glass or two, don't get drunk,
No, I get that. I'm saying it's been, but in which version? You know what I mean? As they're translating over and over again, the dudes that are drinking wine translating, it's like, oh yeah, I know what he's saying here. He's saying like, drink, but it's be okay with your boys. Be careful. Make sure that you get share an ox cart ride home if you drink too much mead, honey mead.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. There's certain things where I'm not like I think the principles are more important than getting into the weeds in a lot of it.
Sure.
So it doesn't really matter. And I kind of get worried about people that draw heavy lines in the sand about the Bible.
Yeah, like with any text, I don't think it's conducive to try and interpret it literally.
Yeah.
Because it's so much of the Bible. First off, it's such an ancient text that you can't even be sure of what you're even reading, and there's so many like contradictions and inconsistencies within that. But then also, like with any story, it's by its very nature like a like metaphor.
Yeah.
It's like parables. So it's just like more of like a Rand McNally, like a guy, like a map, like a just like a sense of direction for how to live one's life, not necessarily something that needs to be, yeah, there doesn't need to be like a hard line subservience to the text. It's more just like, what is the overall principle of it? Like and I guess like ultimately you could boil that down to just like, what is the ultimate message of Christ, which is just be nice to each other.
Yeah, one of the things that's crazy for me now that I'm like meeting new people, like trying to date again, it's very careful. You got to be very careful to not fill in the gaps of labels that people put on themselves. So like I'll meet somebody that says, "Oh, I'm vegan too." So in my mind, I'm like, "Oh, I'm vegan, so I'm ethically vegan. I'm vegan because I don't want to hurt animals and stuff." And then you talk to them a little bit more, and they're like, "Oh, they're not vegan. They're plant-based. It's like a healthy choice that they made." And they see a diet as a philosophical thing. Or you'll meet somebody who says they're Christian, and you're like, "Oh, you're Christian, that's great." And then like, what are you doing? It's like, "Oh, Jesus, I love Jesus, follow Jesus." And it's like, well, that's not quite what Christianity in the Bible says. Like, he's the Son of God and he's one with God, but it's like the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. It's a holy Trinity. And you're kind of just the most people that I found that follow Jesus think he's just the Son and he's separate from God, and that you're supposed to follow him like to the T.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what I was raised with like Christianity. We were raised on the principles and stuff. And Jesus was like, if God were human, what would he look like and how would he walk the narrow path for you to replicate? But you're supposed to still look to God. And Jesus is almost a false prophet, or not a false prophet, but a false idol to some people, because the Bible never says like worship like Jesus. Even Jesus himself in the Bible says, worship my Father, like worship that, my understanding. So it's weird when I find people and they're like, oh, I'm Christian too. And you're like, oh, really? And you're like, yeah, like Jesus is dope. And like, we got gay people at my church. And I was like, okay, well, that's cool. I don't hate anybody, love everybody, but have you read the Bible? Like,
yeah.
You know, so
I think
like,
God, but I think by the time of
it.
Jesus, God was pretty chill with that at that point, right?
I don't know. I mean, it depends how you look at it. From my point of view, I think that a lot of these like diseases that people get from promiscuous like types of sex could be seen as like a plague sent by God to end that particular action. Like if we're going to be successful, you know.
But then why would God also guide our hands to create the cure?
I don't know if he did. That could be because the devil's on earth. That could be the work of the devil.
Oh, you think science?
It could be. No, I think engineering can be satanic, whereas science is just the observation of what's happening. So you could say, okay, hey, you guys need to stop sticking your penis in people's butts because that gives you AIDS and then you die. And then like, so we figured the science out on this. You better follow along. And they're like, don't worry about it. We engineered these pills. There's a great meme online where it's like homosexual sex is just like straight sex, and then the guy pops a pill and he's like, what's that? He's like, oh, it's the pill I have to take to keep from homosexual sex from killing me.
Oh, that might be a Stone Toss comic.
It's a it is, and it's like it's about PrEP or whatever. But so to me, like God's more about like, here's my rules that I set aside. You can break them. You have full like free will. But if you keep sinning and doing this stuff that I would recommend not, like anal sodomy with other men, you're gonna you're gonna get punished naturally.
What about with a woman?
I mean, I don't think it's that clean, anyways. But they say once you're married, you can do whatever you want with one another, and it's okay in God's eyes, right? Don't they say that in bed?
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I think like the appeal of any sort of butt sex is like that it's very naughty. It's like you're not supposed to do it. I don't know if anyone's doing it because it feels better.
Now the Jews wrote the New Testament. Get out of here, Raphael.
like I'm saying like if you're like a heterosexual couple, like a man and a woman,
yeah,
and you have access to straight Christian sex, which is a penis and a vagina, that's probably the best that sex can feel. You know, that's awesome.
Especially if your wife didn't fornicate before marriage,
right? And
because it's the perfect fit. It's perfect fit for you too. Yeah,
yeah. It's her pelvic floor is very sturdy.
And then if she has your child, and then you're bonded that way, then you're like, okay, like this isn't as great as it was, but she gave me a child, which is pretty kick ass. So I'll forget, like, you know.
Yeah. And by the way, I know the holidays are coming up, and it is the time of year when everybody's like a little tighter with money. Let's get some super chats going. By the way, Dave, you didn't thank you. Last night you super chatted $100.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. You don't have to bring it up. I appreciate. Yeah,
I guess I don't have to say that. That's very gauche of me to say that publicly.
I watch you guys a lot. I watch all the Cornfed. I watch all the Crowder Boys. It's Christmas time, so I figured I would give you guys something. And I saved a big lump sum so that you wouldn't waste it on candies at the store and throwing it at stocks that are just going to deplete, and energy stocks. So yeah.
Well, now I'm in drones because of the new, the news drones.
Because of New Jersey.
Yeah. So I'm losing money on drones now. Yep. But no, I'm bullish on. Oh, look, it's a bull market. The Rizzler was on Fox Business this morning, which is portends a bullish season upon us.
Yeah.
That the Rizzler was on Fox Business.
Oh, I saw that screenshot that you put up earlier today. Yeah.
Everybody was posting it because it was like, what? Well, why is he on Fox Business? Why is he talking about the market?
It's just hilarious. Yeah. That was you with like, Haley Welch crashed with Octua, and you're going back into the green because the Rizzler's like he's like this in front of charts and everything goes green.
The Rizzler is signaling a bull run for all of us.
I did take a huge hit this past week.
Everybody did.
And yeah, I got a lot of my assets depreciated. I'm still get the passive income from the DeFi, but the positions that were putting that out, they were pumping out a lot more. They were getting like 500% APY. Like some of them are making like 2% a day in fees, but it's because everybody was selling. So the asset was depreciating super quickly as I was making the fees every day. So my positions, I saved all that in stable to put back in. But yeah, I mean, this past week, some of my stuff went down 25%, 30%.
Dude, the whole crypto market just did a belly flop this last week. I don't know. I guess it probably has to do
a little too high.
It definitely like had pumped a lot. Like it was very inflated, and I'm sure everybody felt the sort of like tension of like, okay, when's this bubble gonna burst? When are we all gonna come back to earth? But I definitely think it also that probably because every market like plummeted that day.
Yep.
And this is probably why many of us are turning to crypto, is because that happened because of Jerome Powell coming on TV and be like, okay, we're doing a 0.25% rate cut. He announced the Fed announced their rate cuts, and then every market just like tanked.
Yep.
So I better understand why we need to own our own money and not be so beholden to this bizarre otherworldly entity that is the Federal Reserve.
Yeah, and I feel pretty safe. Like I heard you guys talking the other day about just like, oh, these guys buy gold and they buy crypto because they think money's going to end, and like they're like doomers. And it is though. Like it's not that Bitcoin is like going through the roof. Like Bitcoin's not 100K because Bitcoin's 100K. That shows you how much value the dollar is losing.
Right.
The money that the value that's getting sucked out of the dollar being inflated is going somewhere because people are still working just as hard. That value is now being stored in Bitcoin. So that 100K going up is real-time evidence that the US dollar is worth less and less. It's at like 40 trillion. So I mean, I say it all the time, I'm beating a dead horse, but if you can just get a little bit of money every month into crypto over the next 5 to 10 years, they're going to be making the switch for you if you don't make it, and you want to get in early.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of the dollar, here's 20 of them from Michael. Play Taid by 311. Merry Christmas, Dalty. Shout out Drew Raphael. Thank you, Michael.
Oh yeah.
We'll have another that up for the radio later.
Yeah, we have two songs too. We got to remember that Drew had a song.
Yes, earlier. I don't want to lose this thought because we're talking about money. Give unto Caesar what is Caesar's, is what Christ said.
Little Caesars,
pizza. Yeah. You pay if the IRS comes knocking. Have you tried offering a pizza?
Hey, everybody loves pizza, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you seen that guy Michael Saylor when he goes on these news shows talking about Bitcoin? He's the CEO of that MicroStrategy, that company that's just been like.
Is he an egghead? What's his name?
Michael Saylor. They're like leveraging themselves with Bitcoin. Like they're
yeah. They keep buying. Yeah, I have.
Yeah, he's going on saying, "We'll just keep buying at the top. I'm going to buy Bitcoin forever." He might be a wacko, but he says a lot of cool stuff.
So he's not wrong. Like it's just going to keep going up. It would depend how he's doing it, because I heard from somebody else that for instance, what I do is I have a lot of money on a lending site. So I put that asset on there as collateral, and then I borrow against that. And overall, that collateral goes up over the long run. So then I just use that money to pay off the loan until the loan is zero. And then I still have all my collateral left over and I get to spend that money. He's doing that on huge levels with Bitcoin. And if it goes too low, you get liquidated if you borrow too much money from it. And so I guess somebody was saying not only is he buying the Bitcoin, but then he's leveraging it and using some of that money to buy more Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin took a big enough dive, he would get liquidated and lose it all.
Right.
So he's mismanaging it. He's not just buying and holding it. He's buying it, leveraging it, and over leveraging it. But you can get in a lot of trouble. Like I do a very small leverage. Like I do like a couple $100 a week, and then I try to figure out how to pay that loan back. And then that's all profit. So whatever you think you can get out of the cycle for the week or two, you loan that money and you try to pay it back by the end of the week or two.
Yeah. He said something funny though, where he was comparing buying Bitcoin to buying like real estate in Manhattan. He was like, like buy you obviously you want to be the earliest person to buy real estate in Manhattan, but then even if whenever you get there, just start buying building in Manhattan, right? And he's like that with Bitcoin. Like, I'm just gonna keep buying it,
Yeah,
and then creating new debt to like leveraging against it and buying more of it. And the lady that was interviewing him said something like, "Well, do you think that's like sustainable or something like a good decision to create new debt and keep buying against it or whatever she said?" She says, "Well, they still do it in Manhattan all the time. They create new debt and then borrow against it and then pay whatever he said." But then he was like, "That happens all the time with every other asset, and you call it an economy."
yeah.
Was like kind of the point. I don't understand all this completely, but it was funny that he just like,
Guys, remember this is all financial advice.
this is
Make sure you
financial
make all your life decisions based on Cornfed.
it was just like a really
financial
funny, like quick kind of a subversive thing he did where he basically said like your entire economy as it is that we exist in is debt. It's all debt. So
yeah. Ever since they got off the gold standard, it's like all that. And I kind of do it a little bit too. Like I can give but they leverage because they can do fractional reserve borrowing where they can borrow like for those who aren't familiar, I just give a quick thing. Like you have $100 and you put it in the bank. So then somebody else, they lend $900 to somebody else. And then that person takes that $900 and they put it into the bank that they're borrowing. And then the banks can now the banks have $1,800. So they lend that to somebody else. But 800 of the dollars that were put back in the bank is being protected by the original 1,000 that was put in there that they're lending out. So they're doing this to an extent where they're actually lending out assets that they don't actually have. Does that make sense?
right, yeah. So nothing is real.
Yeah. So the way crypto solves that is you have your asset in there and that asset has a loan to value on it. You can still loop it and pay it back, but it would have diminishing returns. And then if something went wrong, there's no bailout. You get liquidated and that money goes back into the market. So it would be, so in a way, if he ends up losing it all, he helps all of us because that Bitcoin would go back into the market to the people the many people that were lending it or whatever.
Nice.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. I mean, the thing is like people have like come up with all these definitions lately for crypto where they go, there's Bitcoin and there's altcoins and and there's meme coins and all that. Bitcoin just happened to be the first. And so when they talk about like altcoins, it's just like all the other coins that aren't Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like there's any one crypto that necessarily is the standard. And because all like you and I've talked about this and you've explained this and I kind of have a better understanding of this now. Bitcoin does not actually function the way they say it's supposed to. It doesn't like perform the utility.
It kind of does based on the new white paper, but what people say it does is old thinking from the original maxis that were in it. but they don't realize that the white paper's changed anymore. So it doesn't actually do what the people are claiming that it does anymore, because it was kind of hijacked by, like, as soon as you have something that works well, all the people go, oh, you know, all those, the same people get into that thing and try and control it and be number one.
Right.
Yeah. So the way I don't kind of look at it like that. So we have a real monolithic like idea of currency. And like, as we talk about here, because it is Bible study, is like the love of money is the root of all evil.
Right.
So you shouldn't be thinking, or I don't think of Bitcoin as like the new money to chase. It's a technology that allows us to store value that we've done for our fellow man. And it's really what you want to look at is, instead of like Bitcoin and then everything else is an altcoin, you look at blockchain, which is what the first thing built on the blockchain was, Bitcoin. Then you have proof, which is, and then that is those have to be mined, so that's proof of work. But then you have proof of stake, which is Ethereum, which is the second one, and then you have hash graph technology, which is Hedera. Whatever, those are the three main technologies. So instead of looking at it,
still very early, it seems like it's trading at 25 cents a coin.
Yeah, I got in at like a nickel, so I'm like, I'm going to be holding that long term. I think that's going to be, it could be number 3 someday, because it's the third technology and it's used basically to bridge anything to anywhere from everywhere. So like,
but isn't that also the use case of XRP?
No, XRP, the difference between XRP and that is XRP is I'm not sure exactly, but Hedera half-grass technology, which is actually patented, it allows you to take Bitcoin and put it onto the Ethereum chain, Ethereum on this chain or base or whatever, and have a ledger of it that's all woven into one. And of that ecosystem, of that ISO 222, my understandings, XRP is kind of like the Bitcoin gold of that thing. It's the controlled currency that kind of holds that whole economy together.
Right.
And if they start a stable coin, then what they'll be doing is you'll be buying, or you'll be able to probably buy XRP / Hedera. Like,
right.
So you'll be buying Hedera on the XRP chain, similar to like, right now we use dollars because it makes sense to us. But in the long run, you'll be picking a main currency that's pegged to a secondary currency. That you'll use. But if you stop thinking about it as monolithic and thinking of it like streaming compared to streaming, you're like, okay, what do I want to accomplish tonight? I want to watch a comedy. Okay, where am I going to watch a comedy? YouTube, Hulu, whatever. They're all competing for your business. And so if you're like, I need to trade money right now or buy stuff, then Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin are really good because you can use them for very cheap to move money around and give it to friends. Bitcoin is expensive to move around. It's clunky. So that's better to like store long-term value. So that would be like having CDs, like to watch a movie on or whatever. So it's not like one's better than the other. It's if you have a job that you need to get done, what's the best tool for that job?
Right.
Yeah. And so
it's the difference between like dollar bills and gold bars.
Yeah, but it's like businesses, they're all little businesses too. So you could still like, you can still go to Applebee's and then you'll be like, okay, well, I'm still going to go to Chili's, and like, well, they're almost exactly the same. He's like, yeah, they're a little bit different. And I like both of them. That's kind of like Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash. They're both they're both kind of forks of the original Bitcoin that are much cheaper to use. And then, over time, when I hear altcoin, for me, I don't know.
Alt season is coming up.
I think of altcoin as more like smaller coins that have utility, but I don't think of like Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, and those as like altcoins. And then you have meme coins, which just no utility at all emotional.
Yeah. Fart coin hit a $1 billion market cap.
Yeah. There's such a part of me, because I know how to do that, and I have extra income that wants to just sit down and get a phantom wallet and like pump it into a bunch of meme coins and see if I could get a couple million.
There's people doing that.
I should probably do that, but
Drew Flores tried to do that like a day or two ago with Fartcoin. He's like, I'm going to finally buy Fartcoin. I go, Drew, this is the top signal. Don't buy it. Like, if you're thinking about buying it now that it's at 90 cents or whatever it was, over 90 cents, I was like, don't buy it now, man.
Yeah.
He bought it, and it's immediately nosediving. It's like back down to 80 cents.
Yeah, so with that stuff, there's sites that let you see when they're going to launch, and you can get on. And when you buy them, you're buying them very shadily on like Telegram or something, or directly from the site and putting it in your wallet. And you're hoping to get in at like pennies, like 0.0000001, and buy like 200,000 of them for like $20 or like $100.
Yeah, that's how these people are becoming millionaires on like a 40-cent meme coin.
So then if you can get it to move over enough decimal points from other people coming in, I have like, because people know I do crypto and because I'm on different chains and stuff, I have maybe 30 different meme coins now that people have sent to my wallet, a couple thousand of each. And I just sit on them. Like a couple of them are worth like $1 now, and they started off of like at being not $1 each, like the whole 200, like 8 million of them that they sent me are worth like $1 now. But when they sent it to me, they were worth a penny. So like they are growing.
Right.
It's just that by the time I would want to cash out, you know, who knows?
I mean, hell, even like Dogecoin, there's probably people who recently during the bull run became millionaires on Doge.
Yeah, I'm such an idiot. I had like 250,000 Dogecoin at one point when it was very cheap. And I'm not an idiot, but like I threw like a couple $100 in there. When I made 5,000, I sold.
Yeah.
And so I was like, dude, I'm a fucking genius. But now I know better to like always hold a little portion of these things when you get in early. Like,
yeah, because I mean, it is just like straight up gambling. So I guess you can never. I mean, what you're doing is inherently irresponsible anyway.
Yeah. So when you turn like 100 into 5,000, it's at the time it sounds like, well, get out. Like I'm smart that I can actually pull my money out and walk away. But then it goes up more and you look like a fool like a decade later.
Yeah, because the degens are making millions on it. Dude,
yeah,
this can't be sustainable. This is like the greed and love of money, the sin that we're talking about. That there's people just on their iPhones on Phantom Wallet.
Yep.
They like just all these people are making millions of dollars a day and loot up and down. At a certain point, especially if this new innovation in currency is going to work, this is like crypto itself, there will have to be some kind of regulation. There will have to be some kind of governing body that steps in and says, like,
no, come to the light side, Dalton.
Why must you go to the dark, Dalton? Come to the light.
I just don't understand. Like, especially like with the Haktua coin, it's like that kind of thing. Wouldn't there have for any of this to work? Wouldn't there have to at least be some sort of cohesion, like some sort of like regulation at least?
I mean, the people that lost their money to Haktua coin are just as dumb as her.
Sure.
So they those are all the idiots on the thing. So I don't understand. I guess I kind of understand OnlyFans because I was working it out the other day. I don't understand Amazon sometimes, all the money and stuff that people buy within the US. But when you start looking globally, like there's a lot of money from Saudi Arabia. There's a lot of princes. There's a lot of people that have like a lot of money that they can put into crypto and stuff throughout the world globally. So I can kind of see where all this money is moving in and out of these areas. And I can picture, especially a lot of people are just fleecing money from, like you saw the 15-year-old kid that like rug pulled 50K.
Yeah, I honestly respect to that kid.
Yeah. So like I would never do that. Like I'm trying to be legit, and I pay taxes and all that stuff on my crypto. I'm trying to end the Federal Reserve in the long run so that like our kids aren't beholden to the government money. But like, props to all those people in the meantime. Like, if you're an idiot enough to voluntarily put it on there when you know you can lose it, then you're just gambling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the
Well,
government doesn't need to
degen.
step in and get their cut of gambling. That's how I look at it.
That's true. And I mean, honestly, it seems like even in more legitimate, like real world or whatever you want to call it, there's been even like a loosening of regulation across the board, because any football game you watch now,
Yeah.
the broadcast will be festooned with advertisements for sports gambling, which not too long ago was illegal, except
They were betting on the election this year.
Yeah,
It's
you could go on Robinhood this year and gamble. Like they had it trades. You could
Yeah.
trade on the election.
Yeah.
You could
Yeah,
buy
Poly Market was like pumping.
You could buy contracts on who you thought would win, and just gamble. Yeah, so I think like ultimately this is like a lot of this is a response to the fact that like God put us on this earth to work, to toil, to labor.
Yeah.
We ain't got no way to do that anymore. Everything's like becoming digitized and automated, but then we still have to have money. So now now everyone's like, well, what do I do to make money now that there's no way to work to make the money? Gambling, crypto,
dude. Sports betting. I wish we could get into it, dude. It's such a racket because do you know how it works? Is like they have an algorithm, right? And all it does is it comes up with a line that's kind of close. And then as soon as people start betting on that, the line just moves and it just moves back and forth and the computer moves it. Or all they're doing is taking the juice in the middle and setting up the balance stuff. But the computer does all the work. It's not really like the individuals anymore. So if you could just get a hold of some good software with some good programmers, you know, I'm in New Hampshire. So when I go to play poker or whatever, you walk in and there's just a line of, they look like ATMs, but they're just for sports betting and they're always packed and people are just putting in bets one after another to like waste. And then you're playing poker and they're all stressed out watching the TV as they like lose their rent money or their mortgage money or their kids' college fund for the week on the, on the Celtics game. And I don't do it. So I kind of get it. Cause if you have like $20 riding on it, it's more exciting, but they're not just putting $20 on it and they're not winning most of the time.
Depending on like however you make that bet, I've seen people turn a $20 bet into like $1,000.
Yeah,
but that's those are pretty.
But that means that $980 was lost by somebody else,
right?
And the betting company moved the lines properly, and it's all statistics. So they move the lines properly and they place the odds properly that they're just getting the juice in between. So that means if that guy won 1,000, so either one or multiple people lost 980.
Right. Yeah, I don't do sport. I gamble in other ways where I lose money that don't know what I'm doing. Sports betting, it completely eludes me. Like Sal does it. I don't even know if he knows what he's doing, but he'll be all sad one day and I'll be like, what's going on? He's like, I lost all my parlays, lost every leg of my parlay. And I'm like, do you even know, like, you don't seem to ever win in any of these. Why do you keep doing this?
Yeah. I mean, I do see like putting some money on it makes it exciting. Like I could never play poker for shits and giggles. Like the whole game to me is based on, like, I could play chess for free, but I couldn't play poker for free. The whole point of it to me is like the money makes people have to make real life decisions with consequences, which is part of the game. But I used to be able to play lower stakes and then you go higher. But I mean, even with crypto now, and I got a pretty good grasp of it. Like I made some bad decisions last week and I lost some money in crypto, not life savings or whatever. And I'm always like working the odds, but I went through, I did the technical analysis. I looked at everything and it was about a 60-40 that things were going to go up. So I put some leverage positions in to go up. And things did not go up. Things went way down. So I was able to get out manually. I didn't have a stop loss or anything. I was able to get out manually. By the time I got out, though, like I lost it. You know what some people are making for 2 weeks worth of like paychecks, like good paychecks too, not like McDonald's paychecks.
Right.
And then afterwards, I was like, oh, this sucks because that was like a month worth of these fees over here that you just wasted.
Yeah, well, scared money don't make money.
Yeah, if it
that's
gone the
the
other way, I would have made 15%, and I would have looked like in just a couple hours, and I would have looked like a genius.
Yeah, because like I'm not in the weeds as much as you are. Like I don't even think any of the apps I use will allow me to do. I can't. I don't know how to short or long. I don't know how to do like calls and puts on crypto.
No, it's not. Well, you can do that with some of the stuff, but what I'm doing is like with that lending site, Aave, right? You just if you think something's gonna go down in value, you stake a stable coin that stays a value. So, like, say I put $10,000 on there in a stable coin, I lend that to them, and then if I think Ethereum is going to go down, I borrow 5,000 Ethereum from them. I lock in that price by selling it for a stable coin USDC, and then I put it back in the lend. So now I have 15,000 USDC collateral against my 5,000 in ETH. And then but I owe them 5,000 USD in ETH, but the price has been locked in. If ETH starts to go down, I start paying that loan off, but I'm paying it at the new value of ETH because like I'm not buying 5,000 ETH. I'm leveraging it to buy, 1.75 ETH. And then as the cost or the price of ETH goes down, I still have 1.75 ETH, but if the price goes down, it's cheaper. So then I use that money to pay it back at the cheaper price, and whatever the difference is the profit.
Yeah, that's shorting.
Yeah,
that's from the stock market. I mean,
well, it was from lending in general in the beginning, but now it's been corrupted by the stock market. And then you can do it the other way around. So I could also stake ETH and stake an ETH at 4,000 or stake an ETH at when it's 3,000, right? And then borrow 1,000 against it. And then ETH goes up to 4,000. I can pay that 1,000 off that I owed. And now I have an extra $1,000 and my loan's paid off.
Yeah. I still don't understand it. That's why I never do any of this. Cause even when you explain it to me, it's been explained to me a number of times. I still don't get it.
Like if we showed it, once you get into it and like you see it on the screen and you start doing it, it's probably better that you don't know how to do it, to be honest with you, dude.
Yeah.
Like I got some positions right now that are going, and I got shorts on Link, ARB, and Ethereum. And of course, yeah. So like they've been going down over all day. And then I switched them around like an hour ago and like everything's in the green. That's how it feels all the time. As soon as you put a short, everything goes green. And as soon as you put a long, everything goes red.
Right. Oh yeah. Because if you're shorting, you want it to go red.
Yeah. You're basically locking the price as what it is. And you're taking the money out then. And you got to pay the loan back. So when it goes down, you're
bearish.
You want it to be bearish. And you can play it like, for a while there, I was getting really good at it when the market was going sideways. Because ETH was just going from like 2,500 up to 3K. And then from 3K down to 25, back up to 3K, like every day and a half. So when it got up to 3K, I just shorted it. And then when it got to 2,500, I just longed it and it would go back up to 3K. And I did that for like a month. And I was like, dude, I'm a technical analysis genius. I'm going to be a millionaire. And then the market does one other move and you fucking lose like 3 weeks.
Oh, that's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing with short, like, in stock market, these are options, right? The thing with like playing options is you can lose a lot of money much quicker than if you were just buying and holding, like just regular trading. It's like you can lose your ass pretty quick on options.
But you go up as well too because you're leveraged. So you've lopsided the scale where you know what I mean, whatever money you borrowed, you turn it into the asset that you want to go up. Right. Yeah. So like you say I only have $1,000, but then I borrow 500, but then I turn into that asset. And now I have 15. And then I have still owe 1,000, but now I have 15 of that asset. Or I have 1,000, I borrow 500, I put that in. Now I have 15 of the asset I want to go up. And then it allows me to borrow against it again. So I borrow another 250. Now I got 1,750 of the asset I want to go up, but I owe 1,250. And then if the asset goes down, though, the asset just went down and you own 1,750 of it and you still owe that loan.
Right.
Yeah. So in the long run, crypto is always going to go up. So if you play it conservatively and you shoot for the long and you take out loans and you slowly pay them back, like over months period of time, I don't think you're going to lose. It's when you start getting greedy like me and you start trying to short it in time, everything that you fucking can lose your shorts. And I have.
This is such a refined thing though. Like it takes a while to even start to understand this.
Yeah. I do this like pretty much full time. So it's like my whole life is like degeneracy now. I do in DeFi full time, poker like almost full time, and then my Amazon schemes.
Yeah. Yeah, you use the word investing, but it's really just like schemes. You're just involved in like a lot of schemes.
It is investing though. It's like because I'm taking capital, I'm deploying the capital, and then I'm making a return on investment that comes back to me plus the original capital.
But it's like investing in philosophically the same way that like the Kentucky Derby is investing.
No, it's not.
You're taking capital.
Yes, to an extent, but like with Amazon, for example, I just have so much data. I know what's being sold and for what price and for how long and what the demand is and where I can get it and what the price is. So I'm like, okay, here's something that makes 100% return on investment over the next 90 days. And I deploy the capital. Now things can go wrong that you have to fix, but that's what business is. You're taking a risk and then to provide that service. And if it goes right, then you make big profits. And if it goes wrong, it's on you. And that's the same thing with DeFi too, is I could take the smaller risks, which I do. And I'm back to doing now, but there's people on the other side that need to borrow that money. You know what I mean? So lending it there allows them to do that. And there's interests that are paid. Same with poker. When I'm playing poker, like it's math. So it'll come down to a decision where I might be like 80% favor to 20% to lose. And then I make a bet based on that. And you lose 20% of the time, but 80% of the time you make your money back on that investment of your knowledge.
This is how you'll get rich. I bought and I'm holding cold storage, all that. But I feel like it's a much more comfortable existence for me and a much the path I should be on is get rich on podcasting and then any investing I want to do, just like throw like a couple mil into a money market account, make $200,000 a year passively and just never have to worry about anything.
Yeah, I am 50. So I'm on the other end. So I have money, but I can leverage it better to get more time. I don't know. Like when I was 30, I wish I would have been more aggressive, I think I would have been more aggressive. I wish I would have just had a long-term plan, but now I feel like I'm still catching up. So at my age, I just have different financial goals than somebody who's 30.
You're doing better than probably most 50-year-olds in this country.
Yeah.
Most people, dude, like my
depends. I don't have a wife or kids, so it'd be nice. Successful,
dude. Trust me,
is a different for everybody.
A wife and kids with no money fucking sucks, dude.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing is obviously, yeah. Do you want to be 50 and single and alone and miserable and childless and
okay, right, enough already.
No, but it's also, dude, my whole family
and fat with a stupid beard.
My whole family, like all of my relatives, like cousins, aunts, and uncles, most of them are people that, you know, had children and got married and or with a girlfriend. Like they're in situations where they are together and have a family, and ain't nobody got no money.
Yeah.
And so they're just living these like impoverished, miserable fucking
But
lives.
they're rich with love and family.
No, not even. They're
I know.
always mad at each other and screaming and aggressive. And they're living these lives where it's like, you know, $100 is life or death for them.
Yeah.
Where it's, you know, like a life-changing amount of money is just like a couple $100 for them.
No.
Which is like, and that's not to diminish the value of $200. It's a lot of money for anybody.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, it's not a lot of money. And
it doesn't go very far. It's a lot of money, but it doesn't go very far.
Yeah, if you're at a place in your life where $200 makes or breaks you, that fucking sucks, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the fact
you can't relax and even make plans because you're in that fight, flight, or freeze like mechanism in your brain.
Just
like
you're constantly.
You're not getting good sleep anymore.
No, you're just constantly in survival mode, and dude, living like that. Dude, it's like obviously, you know, Dave, you would love to have a beautiful Christian wife and all that, but the fact that you're at least living in a way where
I'm blessed. I pray every night and give gratitude for like everything that I have. I'm very blessed.
By the way, amen. $5 Canadian, Krakamika dollars. Hey, Achi Mishima, can you give us an estimate of how much USD you have tied up in your DeFi lending / usury thing you have set up?
I'll say it is more than twice of the medium income of the United States.
Damn, dude.
More than that, too. That's that. I don't really want to get into it. I've been in crypto for a while.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
But you can get there
probably more.
You can get there pretty quick because, I mean, the eighth wonder of the world is compound interest, and so if you're making fees when I say I'm making interest, it's not usury. My fees are actually from
Superman 3.
Yeah, when people are making a transaction, that's because my money's there, they can do that transaction, which is the service. And so then I get some of those fees. So it's not usually like where I'm like trying to get interest off them. The daily
you're basically like a decentralized digital crypto courier.
Yeah, the reason we work in percentages is because you want to know where you're going to put your money. So like when I'm playing poker, it's my worst ROI for my time. Amazon, when I'm buying products from Amazon, I'm looking for something on Amazon that makes between 50 and 75% minimum return on investment because it takes about 90 days for me to flip that around. And I'm making about percentage wise daily that equals to what I'm making in DeFi. So if that money was kept in DeFi, I would just sitting there, it would be making more than if I buy stuff on Amazon that's less than a 50% return on investment. So it's not a good use. So the reason you work with percentages is so you know where to put your time. And money is time. It's basically value that you've stored up.
I like this with that get up you have on. You're the crypto druid.
Yeah, yes. Dude, I love druids, dude. Actually, I always play monks like in role-playing games or whatever. But I have had a couple of like when I was in the woods, like doing edibles, I have these like fantasies of like being in a movie where I'm a druid character and I like write this whole movie in my head for like 2 hours walking around. Yeah.
That's cool though. Being a druid is cool. That's cool that you go out in the woods and play Dungeons and Dragons by yourself.
Well, I go for a hike and then I just use my imagination when I'm out there off the grid and I picture like I'm in the city and they come rescue me in the city. And it's like these old warriors with these young kids that help to rescue them. And they rescue the guy in the city and they're like, this is this powerful druid that you guys are talking about. And you're all quiet and like you're run down because you've been away from the forest and stuff. And then the bad guys are chasing you towards the forest and you're taking like this decrepit old man back to the woods. And then he gets there and he like regenerates from nature, or whatever, and he like turns into a bear and starts thrashing everybody like the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
So I like write like fantasy stuff in my head
That's neat.
when I'm out in the it helps when you're like your creativity. Like if you go out in the woods and like leave
I mean,
your
that's
phone
literally what Dungeons and Dragons is.
yeah, leave
It's
your
like,
phone behind and just like play with yourself in your head and not jack off in the fire tower on top of the mountain.
dude, jacking out, dude. I gotta figure out something. I gotta read more and just get back to what you're talking about, because I got nothing left. I just be jacking off all the time and just like filling my time and mental space with nothing.
Yeah.
And I just, I don't have that. I'm not thinking about me like any fun druid stories. I'm just thinking about like boobs and butt cheeks.
One thing I will say, so like just don't fight it too much, like kind of like Jesse Lee Peterson. Like God gave you the biological urge for a reason. But one thing I would say is you're a scientist, right?
Sure.
Like you like empirical evidence and stuff like that. So what your body is signaling to you is a couple things. One, you're probably stressed and you need you're self-soothing. So you're probably self-soothing yourself through masturbation.
Yes.
And then two, when you get that urge, right? When you're sitting there and you get that urge to whack off and it comes over you and it feels like blood like rushing through your veins, whatever, you feel like uneasy and then you immediately associate it with that thing. What I would have you do, instead of say, I feel horny, say, oh, I'm getting a blast of testosterone right now, because that's what the chemical release is actually happening. And then say, what can I do with testosterone? Like, oh, I can go for a walk. I can do push-ups. I can work out. I can ride a bike. Like, and then if you trigger your brain to be like that. So for me, like when I feel that roid rage now, like that thing that I used to associate with masturbation, I was like, oh, I need to work out. And so I'll go to the gym, or I'll do some push-ups, or I'll do some curls or whatever. And then you'll rewire your brain so that when you feel that testosterone kick, that you focus it on something different than women.
Yeah.
But it's just a chemical that your body's releasing, and you're choosing to attach whatever action you do to that thing. So if you use your free will to attach to something else, that trigger will have you do something else.
But even as we're talking about this, I'm thinking about my future wife, Cornfed, and I'm getting chubbed up.
Yeah, it does suck. How you gonna get chubbed up talking to another man? Pause.
Yeah, well, this is my like fantasy I'm writing in my head is I get married to Cornfed and she pays all my bills.
One thing that I will say though, when you're in a heavy dry spell and you just feel like George Costanza when he's like, Jerry, I don't have any even options. I don't know how I'm ever going to meet a woman ever again. And we've all been there as men. It's like you do fall into a pattern of getting super horny and like wanting to self-satisfy because you're just not getting like any real life attention. So
this is a good point though. Hey, Mishman says, if you're working hard restricting your calories, don't just keep whacking it all day. You're doing good. Yeah, body by beats, beating off. Yeah, man. I do, dude. Me and Robbie were joking about this, that I am like doing the E version of being the guy that thinks the stripper actually loves him.
Yeah,
because I've been like joking back and forth, just having some fun online with that Coinfinite lady.
Yeah,
and I do have to like suppress that part of me that's like, man, what if? I was just start thinking like maybe I have a shot with her.
Oh, dude, I am so broken that I'm the other way. It's like everything's a joke to me, to the point where there's been 2 women that were in my DMs that I was talking to, not recently, but like a year ago when I was doing my cross country trip. And I was just didn't even realize that there was any, like, I was just like, oh, it was no different if you or Troy were in my DMs. I just thought they were meme shit heads. that were women on here.
Right.
And then I was at the poker room, and for like a week, the dealers that like the young dealers there were like, "Hey, there's a tournament down in the Hard Rock in Florida or whatever. It's going to be really cool. We're all going." I was like, "Oh yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun." And for like 2 weeks straight. And then one day, one of them was just like, "So you had no interest in going to that?" And I was like, "Oh, I didn't realize you guys were even inviting me. I just thought like," so I'm just like watching everything.
You
like
might just be autistic because
I'm just watching everything like a movie. Like,
why would they bring it up? Why would they tell you about something that
I thought we were just sharing because I talked to all the dealers about life in general. They never physically said you should come down. Like, oh, actually, they did like 3 times. So you should go down. You should come down. We're all gonna be down. And I was like, and I was just like, yeah, like those things are cool. And I just never put that it was an invite in my head until like it was over. And they were like, "You should have came. It was so fun."
yeah.
But
I'm like the opposite where I like read too much into stuff and start like genuinely believing that there's like something maybe happening or that, you know, my dreams will come true. Because I
that's
mean,
good. That's called hope.
yeah. But it also can be very crushing because I mean, there was like for a while there, I had this like you know, this I don't know what you would call it, but this connection, I suppose, with a friend of the show, Diet Coke, or
She's got me blocked. She
she
doesn't like
blocked
me.
you.
I made a joke.
Wow.
Wow. Oh no. I made a joke that she misinterpreted because we don't know each other that well.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't really censor myself, but I made a joke about you and her getting his and her refrigerators, but meant like Coke Zero and Diet Coke.
Yeah.
And she took it like, "Oh, you're calling us fat," I think, and she blocked us before like, but it was almost like instantaneously. We were all bantering in a thread, and then I just
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, I'm blocked."
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there
so
was like a while there where she and
I
I
ain't
were
mad at you, Diet Coke, or so don't
no,
worry.
and I'm not mad at her. It's
Yeah.
just that there was a while there where she and I were like communicating regularly, like we would text and you know quit back and forth, maybe even flirt here and there.
Yep.
There was a part of me that I like where I genuinely was like starting to think like, oh, maybe this is like maybe this is somehow some way.
So
And
you
then
have a je ne sais quoi to you, kind of like, and don't take this the wrong way, but this was going around the internet, but like Stav, like, but I'm just saying, like, Stav had that really hot, like, girlfriend that everybody's like, what the hell is going on or
she's
whatever.
in the music video for 360 by Charlie XCX.
Well, he would got her well before then. She would, you know, but like, and he was much like thinner and like cheerier too.
Yeah,
But like,
he was a
but like you
trim
have a
300 at the time.
yeah, but you're not judgmental. I'm very judgmental. Women don't like that. Women, you're not judgmental, which could be long-term problematic for you with women because they're gonna maybe walk all over you in some cases.
Oh yeah.
But like
look,
you
here's
have
the
a
thing.
good personality, you're friendly, you have like a oh shucks type to your thing. And like, oh, my boyfriend's just a big log. Like women, that's how I think women, I don't think you should sell yourself short. Like women like different types of guys. So
No, and
I don't
I'm
think
just
you were
like
imagining what was going on with you and her, is all I'm
honestly like
saying.
right now I'm like rebuilding my whole life, but also I mean it was nice to have that like kind of connection with somebody, but then eventually she just kind of like dropped off. Like she doesn't really we don't really talk that much anymore, and she seems to have like started to really like put up boundaries as far as like that. Like it seems like I don't know. I mean, she's you know wherever she is, like geographically, it's you
Yep.
know not a thing. But yeah, But that's happened to me like so many times in my life where I've like started to develop this seemingly like a connection with somebody that feels like something that it's not. Where like the woman eventually is like, oh no, you know you're nice and all that, but I would rather have sex with someone I'm attracted to.
Well, I will say that's good though. That means if like, so I had that recently. I met an awesome chick recently, and I just kind of got fucked over by her friends. Like, I mean, it was her decision, you know what I mean? But we were getting along awesome in person, hanging out, talking, had so much in common and all this stuff. And her friends were chirping in her ear with like negativity because they're crabs in a bucket.
Mm-hmm.
And so like every time we started hanging out, I was like defending myself against her friends. And I was like, they don't even know me. They've not even met me. Where is this coming from? Maybe it was her just using her friends as a scapegoat for stuff that was bothering her. And I mean, it was bothering her, but it was bothering her because they were bringing this stuff up. But in that particular relationship, I was like, oh, this is pretty good. I think I could see myself like actually dropping, not being a complete asshole all the time. Like going, if I had to go to like a pumpkin festival, I would go for, you know what I mean? Like things I didn't typically do. And so, and that's healthy. That means that you're like still able to see yourself pair bonding and get into a healthy relationship with somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I suppose I am also myself kind of judgmental. I've just had to learn over the years, like, you gotta, what I've learned is have your convictions and then move in silence. Kind of like keep some things to yourself, because like it can be very off-putting for a lot of people when you make your actual principles known to them.
Let's be clear here. You and whoever you date are going to be on pudding.
That's for damn sure. That was actually something I found endearing about Diet Coke. She was a girl who enjoys a nice meal.
Yeah,
she is a girl who enjoys a nice meal.
I mean, at least from the photos that she took, she wears her weight very well.
Dude, she'll probably see this.
No, that's not a bad thing.
Like, I mean, I will say that
she knows that she has extra weight. There's like fat chicks, and then there's chicks that have weight in the right places.
Yeah, I mean, she, like any woman, she's always like talks about her weight, and she feels like she's overweight. But like the pictures I've seen of her, I'm always just like, dog, this is nice. Like this is good stuff.
This is my Roby Goodwin.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Pandatron, PJ, $5. Nice robe, Dave. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm lonely. I'm horny. I'm in love with Cornfed now, but she's an OnlyFans. You know, she's
is she the trash bag girl?
She's the one I've been like.
She's the one that wears like the black trash bag.
She was the one that had the leather thing on that, so it looked like a garbage bag. And she's very like she and I have a nice little rapport with each other online, but that's the thing where it's like I would be in love with the stripper.
No, I like the exact opposite. I like no makeup, like very, very plain. I saw her, she like objectively, yes, like of course.
Dense titties.
You look at her and you're like, yeah, she's got a nice body. Objectively, like she got good genetics or whatever. But then what she chose to do with those genetics, it makes me, it hits an uncanny valley with me, and I don't even see her as like a human. I'm like, okay, you're like, you've done something that is disattached from, it's so far from who I am as an individual.
You mean like
I couldn't figure out how to even bridge the difference between the two of us.
You mean like the fact that she does porn?
Just her whole way that she chose to like set herself up for like similar to like the girls in that video that you're talking about that you and Sal watched.
Oh yeah.
Like like I see them and I'm like, okay, genetically, if they took all the makeup off and I saw them in Walmart with just like t-shirts and jeans on and like not putting on aloof personality, like they're trying to ignore me, like they were friendly around, then I could see a bridge between the two of us where there was compromise. I feel like there's so many women that are literally building they're building their persona and everything they do around, like it's like their whole persona is a wall from the outside world. That's what I feel like with they don't want anybody in. They're like, I'm aloof. And then you see it like they call it when the mask slips, like that woman recently that came out of the room and she's like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I just fucked 100 guys. And then she like breaks down and she's like holding a gun to her head, like ready to pull the trigger.
They all put on this, there's like an affectation to the way they behave. Like you said, it's very aloof and detached. And it's such a performance that eventually it starts to wear on them and you start to see the cracks form in the facade. You know, so that, I mean, I do agree. Like, I've met women like that before also that are very like trying to keep everything at a distance,
Yep.
and you just can't get close to them in any meaningful way where you go, well, yeah, you're hot, you have great tits, you know, objectively you're beautiful, but there's like a conflict between myself and your whole deal
Yeah,
that
they're almost like Dylan Mulvaney in the fact that they're also pretending to be what they think a woman is.
they're basically trans.
They're basically trans, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, they're like
They're female to female trans.
Yeah, and there's men like this too. There's men like some people are calling Andrew Tate like this because he didn't grow up with a father or whatever, calling him gay and stuff like that. I don't think that he's necessarily gay.
Andrew Tate is male to male trans.
Yeah, he's male to male trans. He's born in a male body and he's dressed up as a male when he thinks a male is.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We got a new super chat. I think.
Oh yes, $2 from Hatchie Mission McKean there. If it's DCW or Florida woman.
Oh, we have to for what? We're choosing one or the other, or
that's a good question.
What was he saying? Like, which one were we talking about?
I think he's like asking us to pick one.
I mean,
I feel like probably Diet Coke ultimately, because like Florida woman seems nice and she can be funny. But I feel like she and I probably would have much more of a disconnect than myself and DCW. I feel like DCW is more kindred to me.
Yeah, so I think I'm the exact opposite. I think Florida woman over. First of all, Florida woman follows me, whereas Diet Coke has me blocked. So right there, I think that's a huge bridge. But I still think that Steph's flirting with me sometimes. So I do. I stop myself.
Dave,
all of a sudden again, she'll comment on something that I haven't even looked at in like 2 months, and she'll make a comment on it.
She seems like a femcel, though. She seems like kind of asexual, or
I don't know. We both wear wacky costumes. I don't think I could. She likes guns. She lives in
Florida.
Elmo?
How do you feel about Bert and Ernie?
I think she'd make a good mom in a weird way. And I'm looking for a mother.
She would make a great wife and mother that you never get to have sex with.
No. I think she would be like so maybe that would be good because I only got a couple more years in me at 50. So by the time she's like, I don't want to have sex with me anymore, like I'll already be done with sex and we can have like an asexual friendship.
Yeah, then you're like trying to learn how to play euchre. You're like, babe, play euchre with me.
Yeah, and she'll be playing ukulele for the kids in the backyard by that time, and I'll have to. I don't think I could do Disney adults though.
Damn,
that's the exact
DCW. DCW might be a big old girl because the one black guy in the chat says she's hot as fuck.
Yeah, see, yeah,
I like her. I think she's.
I don't know though. He's Asian too, though. But those Asians be thick these days.
Is he? No, I think he's like half white.
He's panda. No, he's panda.
I think he's panda because panda's black and white. I don't think he's like
black and yellow. Trust me, I know my slurs. If there's one thing I know, Dalton, it's my slurs. Panda.
I think PJ calls himself panda because he's black.
Because he's black and Asian. Yeah.
No, because the panda.
He kicks himself out of his own convenience.
The colors of a panda are black and white. See, he says not Asian. He's black and white.
He's half Asian.
I mean, I guess like okay, the alchemy.
He's already saying that, but
the racial alchemy is, I guess, if you mix white with black, you get like basically Filipino.
All right, I guess I'm wrong. I thought he had said he is Asian on Crowder Boys during the first arena battle.
Yeah, let's we have some song requests. It's Cornfed Radio.
Hanging out with you guys. I'm losing my racist edge.
That's good. Man.
Oh yeah, I want to hear these songs.
That'll attract more women if you could.
Get a lot of super chats tonight. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. Keep them coming.
I think it's the Druid robe.
Yes, the crypto Druid.
I didn't put the belt on because I think I'm going to return this. But I didn't like that it came with the cross and it came with the belt. But I don't really like this one. It's too costly. I want like a legitimate like robe.
But this is Cornfed Radio 148.8. Sacred Geometry. This is by request from Drew Huntley. This is the first one. Sacred Geometry by Mel.
WNIGG.
No, what are the call signs for radio are either a W or a K. So KNIGG. That works.
Mullen must have done that on
Maybe
Come Town already.
No, he didn't do. He hasn't done everything. Cornfed Radio KNIGG 148.8. This is a sacred.
Oh no, that's not good. Let me see.
KNIGG. Check. KNIGG, the Nig.
Radio coming to your neighborhood, unfortunately.
There used to be a lot of good radio stations in this neighborhood until the Nig showed up. That's Cornfed Radio, KNIGG.
Boom, boom.
We are racist. Nig.
The best part about that sample is Crack getting like upset and doing an earnest Joe Gorman going, geez, when you're doing it in the middle of it. That gets me every time. There's been like so many points where he like fills the role of Joe Gorman, but he's actually being earnest when he's like, oh no, don't show me this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I love the Crowder Boys every Wednesday, except for Christmas Day this coming up week. But we'll have an episode on the Patreon, patreon.com/the Crowder Boys. $2 from Magic Mission. Let's get a song from Dave. Not yet, because we have other requests.
Yeah, let's do these first two songs. Or at least let's go back and do Sacred Geometry.
Sacred Geometry by Melachesh.
Two idiots. This will be the post online. Two idiots react to. We should just do over. Let's just become a reaction channel, Dalton, and like
that's where the money is. Except it's a pain in the ass because any reaction you do is technically fair use, so it's not really a copyright infringement, you know. But YouTube is all AI and algorithms, so whenever you like react to a song or a music video, it immediately gets flagged and either demonetized or blocked.
Yeah,
and you have to dispute it, and those disputes can take like up to a month.
If you get good at it though, like Tom McDonald reaches out to like the big reaction guys, and like a couple of the music people always reach out to like the independent guys reach out to get people to react to their songs. So then the artists themselves will go in and release it for you. There's a whole like community, dude. We should do that, dude.
Well, I'm trying. I've been doing reactions for a while.
Let's sell out, dude, as soon as we can.
Yeah, I do, because they're like always part of a longer thing, and I try to clip them out and then post them as its own video, and it'll get blocked immediately. So I have to like dispute it, and that can take like up to a month for that to even work. But anyway, no reason to bore the people with all this business. This is Cornfed Radio 148.8 KNIGG.
I'm sorry, WK.
KNIGG. This is by request from Drew Huntley. Sacred Geometry by Melachesh. Here we go.
Am I going to be wearing a robe in this? Is there a video?
Sorry, what'd you say, Dave?
I feel like there should be a video with Druid singing this.
Maybe,
sure this is the one. Where's the official video?
It's just the album. I don't think there's a video for this, but we'll just, we'll be the video.
All right. Is this what called technical metal?
Yeah.
I feel like the Indian guys are shitting in the street right now to this. This definitely sounds like something that an Indian kid would put over a TikTok video, and it'd be like a guy peeling out, splashing water on a chick, and it's like, respect. This is technically metal, all right, everybody?
Wait, what did you say?
I said this, they're roasting me in the comments. I said, this is technically metal.
Yeah, I don't know what this is. It sounds like, just like some sort of Middle East, some sort of African Egyptian metal. I don't
Who's
know.
Malakesh?
Malakesh. We'll listen to a minute or two more here. We'll see how this goes.
Sorry, did that come to you? The lead singer kind of looks like the guy from like every metal band ever, like Pantera Forward. Oh, he actually kind of looks like Carlos Mencia if he did metal. Yeah, let me put this as a private chat.
What?
Oh, I said he kind of looks like the guy that's singing this kind of looks like Carlos Mencia if he did metal.
Oh, yeah. Well, sometimes like Indian or African, some kind of like Egyptians and Middle Eastern people can sometimes look Mexican for sure. This song is not my thing. This just is like.
Can you pull up the photo that I put in the private chat?
Yes.
This is the lead singer who's singing this, or this is the guy that's singing this. And all I could think about is this kind of looks like he could.
Oh yeah, he looks like if you ordered the guy from Disturbed on Temu.
Yeah, he's every metal guy like in one. Yeah,
that's what people say on Twitter. If you ordered blank on Temu.
Yeah. I'm like, no, I see in his face. He looks like Carlos Mencia to me, but I haven't seen Mencia in a while.
Yeah, he
did metal.
He looks like if you were to buy if you go to like a Spirit Halloween store to buy a costume of a metal guy, he's the guy on the bag for the costume.
Yeah, this is like the outfit that Lewis has on at Skankfest before he puts his real outfit on over it.
Yes.
Before he puts his guy liner
on. So we have another. Now I'm familiar with 311. I mean, one of the great artists of our time.
I had a buddy whose like favorite bands were 311 and Rush.
I love Rush. 311. I don't hate 311, nor am I like a huge fan, but they have some songs I do really enjoy.
Yeah, it was just interesting to me that those were his two go-tos, because it seems like if you like Rush, 311 wouldn't be your number 2 slot.
Right. Oops. Yeah. Yeah, they do seem pretty different. Rush and 311.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Well, let's see here.
311 did come out at a time though where it was like that rap rock revolution. So the fact that they could even stick out during like the whole Limp Bizkit era.
Well, because they also infused like reggae. They had like a little Rasta going on, a little patois.
Gotcha.
Oh shit! I didn't even realize it. Hayachi's right. Today is 2112. Wow.
Wow. I don't know what that means.
Actually, no. Today is 12/21. So.
Oh.
That's not true. 2112 is a Rush album. It's one of my favorites.
Gotcha.
But let's see here. Oh, you know what though? He's Canadian, so it is 12. It is 2112.
Oh, for him, yeah.
For him, but this is the good old US of A, where it's 1221. So.
He's not even gonna. What do you have? He's not even Are you celebrating Boxing Day? You don't even get Christmas, right?
Canadians don't even know about Christmas.
They just look at boxes. I heard
they just
have Boxing Day.
They just have boxes, dude. They're like cats.
Yeah,
you get a box and they're like, "Oh, cool,
sweet, dude.
We got a box."
And then they're too nice to get angry at it, so they just say thank you and I'm sorry when they get a box.
Let's see here. So this is Taid by 311. Oh, yeah.
Come on, this doesn't have a video to it?
No.
Returning from the water, cold, alive and shining, rock your mind in the afterlife. But while your moon is rising, heating up for 16, worthy to be seen. The dark held stars are the frost in my breathing. Swimming through the darkness, I'm a ghostly shark, developing like a photograph, slowly in the dark of the hereafter. The action, the main attraction, one love in all of this that I'm going after.
This is pretty mellow in the background.
This is very metal.
Now the spot inside blood like space around you. You think, where am I? But even your life continues. See through us, see a soul we have not yet learned to harness. See the next world inside it. We are the people of skin who left water inside the dark womb, inside of our mother. Prone to a beat and vibe of our tribe. We catch the drift and
good point.
Tides. I'm full of love that will keep on burning. Now see yourself to the next world returning. This life and whole place we face to live again. What is it to understand the hereafter?
Yeah, it does. The vocals do seem like a little tinny, and it seems like they were put on over the top instead of into the music.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the way they uploaded though, so they wouldn't get it pulled though. Maybe this version is not like studio quality, so it won't get pulled off YouTube.
Noodling.
I'm gonna DJ mix.
Man, yeah, the vocals. I mean, it is basically like RHCP, where the instrumentation, all that sounds great, and then the vocals are very underwhelming.
That might
bordering
be
on bad. The vocals,
but that might be. I'm gonna just give him the benefit of doubt. Some of that might be the way that it was laid over for YouTube, so that it doesn't get pulled down. Because it didn't seem like it was mixed properly. Like,
no, you're just describing 311. That's
okay.
I don't know. They 311 has some, I didn't hate that song. I thought it was fun. You know, it's much better. Michael has like very like aggressively Caucasian taste in music.
Yeah,
because one time Michael like asked to recommend some song about Alien Ant Farm that was not their one hit. And it was genuinely, I try to be pretty open and, congenial when it comes to other people's tastes. You know, it was genuinely one of the worst songs I've ever heard that he said he liked. It was so bad. This was not that bad. This was good. This was fun. 311's tight.
Let me see here. I want to find something out of the ordinary that I listen to for you guys.
All right. What does this say? Hayachi says, I work Monday, then I get a week off on stats. I don't know what that. I don't speak Canadian. What the fuck is stats? I don't know what that means. Is that like you're on the dole? They put you on the dole for a week?
All right. I haven't been listening to this a lot, but this was heavy in my rotation for a while. I'll put it in the private chat. This is a fun song.
Let's see.
People will know who Redman is, but I don't know if they know who Prof is.
Okay. We'll do this and then we'll close out after this because I have to tend to some errands.
This is like a fun pick-me-up song. I listen to this like when I get ready in the morning.
Here we go.
Yeah, like fix my eyebrows and think of all the ladies that I'm gonna run into when I'm out.
Yeah, I can already tell this is not your usual purview because it's black people.
No, I listen to a lot of rap. I listen to a lot of DMX. I listen to a lot of Tech Nine. I listen to a lot of Hopskin.
Okay. It's just a hop, skin, and a jump.
But I listen to a lot of Redman, a lot of Wu-Tang.
Yeah, I enjoy Wu-Tang.
I grew up on rap, but performed punk.
Right.
Because I'm white.
Right. I get that.
It's pretty much the same music.
I'm relatively white myself. Here we go. This is Pack a Lunch by Prof featuring Redman.
It's like fun music. And I think they have some TikTok girls that they hired.
Oh, I know about Prof. I've seen this guy.
We gonna lose better. It's an all-nighter. Go pack a lunch. Yeah. If you trying to party, then we got a Concord. All them lames over there, they're done for. Turn the shit to a freak nick of some sort. It's gonna be some work. You should pack a lunch for it.
I think
drop it down.
He's got an awesome line in this thing. It's so drunk. He's like, is that?
Throw it up.
I don't know if that's Jennifer Aniston balancing on a mannequin.
Pack a lunch. Pack a lunch.
But I believe these three chicks are from like TikTok or TikTok whores or whatever.
4 or 5 housewives outside, mouth wide. No more day on the south side. So high got Alzheimer's. Slow style, Alpine in my downtime. Girl, you sturdy as hell. Speak 3 languages and I heard you read Braille. I bet the motherfuckers feeling me now. They was turning me down. Nowadays, I'll be turning them out. Couple lean got me questioning my sanity. All this footage on the phones could be damaging. So drunk that I could barely see. Is it Jennifer Aniston balancing on humanity?
I know, there is something fun to me about videos that have like trashy chicks like that are more realistic that you might actually see.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Drop it down.
We got a big old girl.
Spread them out. Back it up. Run them out. Throw it up. Go to work. Pack a lunch. Pack a lunch. Pack a lunch.
Raphael don't like it. I guess, is he a foreigner? Because everybody else knows this song is fucking banging.
Black Hannibal dressed like Barry Manilow. No COVID shot pop, I got the antidote. You wanna act animal? I'll push the envelope, clipping the tech, look like a banana boat. 10th grade, I have cake like anime. My attitude keep you at bay. The Mandalay with the gift, the gab, I go get the bag. Then I pound my dogs like a rubber dab. I need a lap dance from a rap band. Girl, show me you got drive like a dash cam. Yeah, I'm the captain, rolling the Afghan. I drop bombs on them like the Gap band. Black bandana tilting like Santana. I'm a cheap fuck, I wanna dine at Panera. I walk through your hood with a vendetta, yelling out, who the best nigga? If I had 20 million, I gotta spend it. The loot and go Luke Cage. I gotta finish and pass women, give me French benefits. I'm a king, so kiss the bling in the ring and say, hi, you eminent. Ho! That's how a real nigga do it. Nothing changed but the mic when I'm interviewing. Me and Prof, we got bud by the bunch. It's an all-nighter. Go pack a lunch, nigga. Drop it down. Fuck it up. Yep. Spread them out.
I like this music too, because when I sing along, I get to say the word.
Go to work. Pack a lunch. 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 A real life like Comic-Con. Sparring soccer moms in the octagon. Spirit animal, Carmelone. I'm just thankful that they let me bring my dog along. I'm a wild
So I wonder if like shit.
More action boss, less
You know
chit
how I
chat.
was saying like
Girl, you look
those-
good where your kids at.
those
Leave it
chicks
to
in
your
that
man,
other
it's a
video,
mismatch.
like what they think women
If I had an
like.
opportunity to be greeted with booty, even if it
I wonder
needed
if
needed, she
women
cheated,
watch
maybe
this and
duty,
say,
any
oh,
movies
these
in a
guys are
parade, and I'm
dressing
fading
like
day
what they
alone.
think
Basically,
is
I grab all
cool
the
to
party
dress
people
like.
and I would tell them, if you're trying to party, then we got a
That's what it
Concord.
kind of
All
feels
the
like
lames
to me.
over there, they're done for. Turn the shit to a freak nick of some sort. It's gonna be some work. You should pack a lunch for it. Drop it down. Fuck it up. Spread them out. Back it up. Run them out. Throw it up. Go to work. Pack a lunch. 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 Drop it down. Fuck it up. Spread them out. Back it up. Run them out. Throw it up. Go to work. Pack a lunch. 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 Pack a lunch.
No, the women in that video aren't supposed to be like attractive. They're supposed to be like panhandle stupid whores that you would see in a gas. No offense to Sweeze, but those are who he's meeting on Bumble.
Yeah, those are some like realistic shorties.
Yeah,
that are in that video.
Yeah, that was like, you know.
The most glaring, the most glaring thing I noticed in that video is maybe this was a stylistic choice, but how much better a rapper Redman is than that Peckerwood motherfucker.
Oh, Redman's really good. Prof has a lot of good different songs. That's kind of like a fun song. He's got a 90s style, but he's not from he is from the 90s, but he's got like a 90s type
I've
style.
seen him on TikTok.
But Redman's like the GOAT. He's like, of course, Redman's going to be better. Even Eminem said that Redman's his favorite rapper, you know? So
right. Yeah. Like when Redman came in, it was like noticeable. It was like night and day. Like, oh, this really just leveled up.
He's black.
He is black. I mean, he gets
it is night and day. So you're right. You are correct.
But I mean,
you're saying Proof was like day and Redman was like night.
He just immediately had a much better like flow and was just like, I don't know, vibe. What they say now, aura.
Yeah, his aura, dude. Yeah. My favorite line in that song, though, he's just got a song about being drunk, and he says, he's like, or high or whatever. He's like, I can't really see, is that Jennifer Aniston balancing on a manatee? Meaning like it's just a fat blonde chick. So he thinks she looks pretty, but he's like,
that was nice to see the kind of women that would have sex with me in a music video.
Like I said, I think that blonde chick like blew up on Twitter.
She blew up before then.
She blew up way before then. She blew up on Cheetos and lots of food, McDonald's, late night meals. No, she was on like a TikTok, like or like maybe Instagram, like Reels type, whatever, like female comedian. You know, when female comedians are like, they instead of just talking about their pussy and having sex, they act weird and like a man or whatever, and then people are like, oh, she's funny. She's like, because she didn't do the one other joke that they all do. I think she was like quirky like that, and slutty, and so people blew her up, and then she got in that video. But I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, being slutty as a woman is just like, you know, that's your printing press right there nowadays. Just be slutty publicly and ... money.
Yeah, I've actually seen, one thing I will say is I've actually seen a couple of, so I like merit-based stuff or whatever, right? And I'm not a huge Kill Tony. I've never watched Kill Tony episode except for like the Madison Square Garden and Shane as Trump. But I do see the clips. Dalton, you ever watch a clip?
I do. I do be watching clips.
Clips are pretty good, dude. But I see a clips of like the women that are on Kill Tony. And one thing is kind of good that he gives them gives like women a chance to be on there and makes a point, is they've actually thrown enough women like against the wall now that there is actually a couple funny, like I've seen a couple of funny chicks on there. But what I can't stand is now there's like there's this new genre of, oh, I'm so nervous and shy and uncomfortable up here the whole time. When they're doing their joke, like I'm having
alternative comedy.
I'm having an anxiety attack the whole time I do my act because I'm really shy and nervous. And they never get unshy and nervous. It's been like 3 years now, and they're still going up there and doing 5 minutes, and they're doing the same bit. But I've seen a couple of funny chicks lately that didn't talk about their vagina and stuff. I think they did talk about porn and incest.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that kind of thing can work though, because like one of the best late night sets of all time is when Dan Mintz did Conan, and I don't know if you know who he is. I don't know how much he does stand up anymore, but he's the voice of Tina on Bob's Burgers.
Okay.
Years and years ago, he did Conan, and it's like one of the funniest like 5 minutes anyone's ever done on late night. And his whole like performance is like, how much of this is put upon or real, I don't know, but he seems like noticeably kind of nervous, and he's like looking away from the audience in the camera, like he's kind of like staring off into the distance and just hitting banger after banger these jokes he's telling. I'm trying to remember one of them. He said, I can't remember. Hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and watch it real quick.
Cut to guys talk about stuff on Twitter and watch clips.
Yeah, because I cannot remember any of his. I remember his. Let's see if it's as good as I remember it.
When I was on Troy's show last night, I was like, afterwards, we did like 2 hours or whatever, and you kind of thinking back, and at one point I was just explaining a meme that I saw.
Oh, dude, I've heard Rogan do that a bunch where he's just explaining a meme, and I'm like, dog, dude, you're scraping the bottom of the barrel.
I was so embarrassed for myself after the fact. It's kind of funny now because it's like we were saying about one of the great bit is like wasting the audience's time. So just sitting there explaining.
Dude, I think I've done that. I was doing that with somebody recently where I was trying to explain to Sal what Here Come Dat Boy, oh shit, what up?
Yeah.
And I'm just explaining a meme from when I was a teenager. And they were just looking up versions of that meme.
Oh yeah, dude. So good, dude. Clips and memes. That's what you guys are here for, clips and memes.
Yeah, and Heihachi wanted another song. We might get to that. Bass Rider from
I could tell you at like 7:30, I was like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to make this.
I'm so tired.
I was all day. I got up and I showered and I was like, I'm like, let me pull this together and let's do it. And now that I'm here, I'm all energized. But I was
thinking, you do. We actually read the Bible. We've accomplished our core mission.
Oh, I love doing it. But when I was putting on this stuff, like to come on here, or whatever, it's like, oh, I know you joke around about it, but it is like coming in week after week. Like I was kind of like, because I watch Legion of Skanks a lot, and they do that twice a week, and then Lewis is doing his other podcast. I'm like, you know what? These guys actually do have to like get on. Like you have to get ready to be on.
Yeah, I mean, I will say
perform.
That is their
day in and day out.
That is their only job, is to be performers.
Yeah.
So they like all of their they're allocated all of their like psychic energy into to being able to do that. For me, dude, I was by the time I got off for lunch today at work, like halfway through my shifts, I was like, dude, I can't believe I have to like do podcasting after this. I'm so fucking exhausted.
Yeah, I was sitting down and I was like, man, because I normally take a nap because I'm in bed by 10 o'clock normally. So I usually take a nap, and I've been up since 4 a.m. And I was like, you know what? If I can just get to the giggle stage, it'll be a good show because I can let loose and zip, zap, zop. We can riff it up, dude. We had that good bit about WN.
Yeah, that was a good riff.
Yeah,
I do find it difficult, like if I've worked all day, especially because my job is like talking to people all day and getting chewed out a bunch and dealing with like very just ornery, miserable people that like by the end of a shift, I'm so like just worn down from it all.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to do is just keep trying to talk to people, and it is hard for me to like muster up the energy and the creativity to like then sit and do a performance like this. But I'm a consummate professional, so
dude,
I think anyway.
I think the Saturday show between us is getting pretty good. The super chats are banging tonight. Look at the super chats.
Heihachi is dipping.
You guys rule.
This is all of his SSI check or whatever they got in Canada. He said $2. Says I'd listen to Rogan trying to explain Bad Luck Brian. Yeah, it's like a guy who wears a sweater and he's not lucky. He has bad luck.
He also says Dave has plus 99 mana with that armor.
Dave has plus 99 mana with that armor. Oh, that's what I was going to say earlier about your Druid fantasy, Dungeons and Dragons. That movie that just came out is very good. The Dungeons and Dragons movie.
The last couple have been.
The last couple?
Yeah, they're not always by the same people. They always take like a shot at it. But I just watched one a little while ago that I didn't think was going to be good because they had a female warrior.
Was it the newest one with Chris Pine and Michelle Rodriguez?
Maybe it was Michelle
because they
played the female warrior.
I feel like the only other Dungeons and Dragons movie probably came out like 20 years ago, and it sucks.
Oh no, yeah. So if it was just but you mean recent, like 3 years ago?
Yeah, within the last 3. Yeah, it's called Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. It's Chris.
Yes,
Chris
that was good.
Pine.
I liked it.
Yeah, it's like not only is it like surprisingly like decent. I'm like, oh, this is a really good movie.
Yeah,
this isn't just like good for. It's not just that my expectations were low and this was better than what I thought it would be. Like this is actually like way better than I thought it would be. This is a really good movie.
There's a couple of movies like that. They're like spin-offs that are just like low, not necessarily low budgets. They don't call themselves Dungeons and Dragons, but it's the same premise.
Right.
And they work very well when they don't try to make it a blockbuster. They kind of make like you know what I mean? Like it's not all CGI.
Yeah,
they have to work with some of the cameras and some of the tricks with
like
that
at the beginning of the movie, that creature, that like bird thing that comes in, Jonathan, that was like a practical effect, it looked like. That wasn't like a CG whatever. It was it's the sort of like maybe not high budget tentpole kind of blockbuster.
Yeah.
But it's a movie that doesn't get made that much anymore, which is like a lower budget fantasy movie.
That's right in my wheelhouse. I love those.
I love those.
I can, for those, I can get very childlike and just suspend my because
I watched it twice. I loved it so much. I was like, I'm gonna actually watch this again, which I hardly ever do because it was just such a fun movie. And it was like fun to get lost. And I don't even play Dungeons and Dragons, but the movie. Like all the fantasy stuff was good, and then also the sense of humor of the movie. All the humor worked really well because like Danny McBride and James Franco and all them tried that years ago with that movie Your Highness, and it's a terrible fucking pile of dog shit, that movie. And it's the jokes are just way too obnoxious and in your face, over the top. Like it also like hypersexual, just like very juvenile humor. The Dungeons and Dragons movie had a great balance of like all the fantasy and it had the weight of like a serious story almost, like a high fantasy. They're in peril and there's a quest and all that, but then there was also like a lot of great jokes in it.
Yeah, there's a couple different ones like that. I didn't get into Dungeons and Dragons until like my early 30s, which is crazy. I had played like role-playing video games and stuff. But then when it's hard to get a party together, we started playing this board game called Talisman. Highly recommend if you can get a hold of one of the older versions, but even if you buy the new version. And it never plays the same way twice. Like you get a character with a sheet, and when you pull cards, they interact in different ways, and it's ambiguous. So when whoever you're playing with and how you use those cards together in the game, you kind of get in little arguments with one another that it can't be used that way. So like I might get a magic bracelet that protects me from magic. And then you try to cast a lightning bolt at me. And I'm like, no, I got my bracelet on. And then the next round I try to cast heal. And you're like, you can't be affected by spells. So then you have to like take your bracelet off to heal yourself. And so you're in competition for one another and you can fight one another. But if you're like playing with 4 people, it might be in your best interest to form little alliances here and there to take down who's ever winning, because you're all trying to win, but sometimes you have to team up. And it becomes a really good creative outlet for just problem solving, like the way the cards work together. And
I like those kinds of
noticing when you're in and out of an alliance organically with somebody to team up on somebody.
Yeah, I like those kinds of games because the problem I always have with Dungeons and Dragons, the couple times I try to play it, is it's too formless. Like, somebody has to read like 3 whole books for you to be able to play it. But then the actual game itself is you just sitting there, you create a character, and then you're just like making shit up with your friends and then arguing over like what you can and can't do and rolling dice or whatever. I like the stuff that has a little bit more structure where there's cards and dice. And because there was
World of Warcraft was so big because it just solved all those headaches. You like go in, you can still go with the party, you still have a quest, you still have all your magic, and when you die, you die, and like you're not mad at anybody because it's programmed into the algorithm that you're dead.
Because there was a game I used to play that's kind of similar to what you just described. That was like, like a more quick paced, casual, but still very fun and in-depth alternative to D&D kind of. It was like also like a very humorous, ironic kind of game called Munchkin, where you would, you had like a deck of cards, and you would like you would build your character, and then the cards determine like the monsters and then attributes and all that your character would have. That was a fun game.
I used to have like a Sunday night board game night at my buddy's house, and there was like 5 or 6 of us that played that knew each other for years. And he only put it together for like a year or two until I ended up fucking his wife's best friend, and then things kind of went south from there. But we would play all these different games, and they were like these $200 like intricate board games, but they were all like fantasy based. So they weren't like Risk and stuff where like whatever. It was more like they just had a lot of repeat play to them. And some of them were like riddle games where like you're in this haunted house and it was different every time as you go through these rooms, the way that the cards would play out in the story, and had this big book. So like
Arkham, I bet it was Arkham Horror.
I don't know. When you got to the end, it's like it would be like, okay, it's a 1, 2, and a 5. So then you open the book to chapter 1, story 2, paragraph 5, and then that was the ending. And then the game actually started. So the first half of the game is all set up as you guys opening up and getting weapons and stuff. And then somebody actually opens up the haunted house and something happens where either that person's the enemy, and in order to win, like you all have to kill them, or that you all become evil and they have to get you. And you don't know until the end. And because the book is set up where it's like these random numbers, the story is infinite. There's infinite different stories you can.
I know all about the world tabletop, that whole world. I've been to those stores. I've played some games like that. It just requires you to have not only a good group of friends, but a good group of like very autistic friends. I think. You gotta have people that are willing to commit to at least you explaining the rules and then trying to like learn the game and play it with you.
No, we had a good group. We had one kid that was like to drink a little bit too much. So he was always like not like in a bad way. It was just like it would get to him and it's like, let's go, Brat. Let's go. Or if you played like an online game with him, like, Brat, where are you? And he's just in town looking through the gear at the shop. And you're like, dude, you're gonna outgrow that stuff and grind it up. We're gonna be 10 levels ahead of that.
You can't be getting too faded on tabletop night. That's for sure. You gotta keep your wits about you.
I wouldn't mind getting tabletop night together again.
I love tabletop, dude. It's just so hard to find people that are into it.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and we're gonna wrap this up. So I just wanted to let's check out some of these jokes and see if this is as good as I remember it. This is the because you were saying women suck at comedy. They act too nervous, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, now, so here's a guy doing
this guy voices a girl on TV, and he does like you'll see what I mean. He does like kind of a nervous character as a comedian.
Yeah, I just found out that Bart Simpson, Nelson, and a couple other characters were all voiced by a female.
Yes, Nancy Cartwright.
Yeah, really shattered my whole childhood in a good way.
You just now found that out?
Yeah, I just never knew who they were. You know what I mean? I just I never put a face to the cartoon. I could kind of ruined me, but I just saw a reel of her. I was watching some clips, Dalton, and she comes on and does all the voices.
She's big on TikTok. I've seen her do the voices. And Conan used to have, because Conan basically wrote all the classic episodes of The Simpsons.
Yeah.
And so when he was doing late night, he would have the cast come through every now and then, like Dan Castellaneta and Harry Shearer, Hank Azaria, all of them, and they would do the voices on air. So you would see their, you can put a face to the voice, but it actually kind of ruins the magic a little bit.
Yeah, no, she's good. She's really good. I knew the Rugrat one was a woman, but I didn't realize.
Tara Strong.
Yeah.
You could tell that we're talking about my actual dream job, which is voice acting. So
I was thinking that would be good for Robbie. Why doesn't Robbie become a voice actor?
Robbie's talked about it. I'm sure it's something like I think all of us have like dreamed about doing.
It's funny. It's kind of like that bit about like, oh, well, if I was a stand-up, what I would do is I would just get a sitcom, and then after the sitcom was over, I would just get a Netflix special and do residuals with that and go into syndication. It's like, why doesn't Robbie just become a voice actor in Hollywood?
Yeah, it's probably hard to break in. And
yeah, of course.
I don't have the range to do like a bunch of voices. I always just envision myself as like a like a John DiMaggio, where it's just a a unique enough voice, or what's the word I'm looking for? It's just such a striking enough voice that I could just do my voice everywhere I go. So Bender and Jake the dog both sound kind of similar.
Sometimes the hacky bit is better. Like, I don't do very good voices, but I was like doing the Santa Bin Laden on Troy's show yesterday for the first 30 minutes. And behind the scenes, let's pull the curtain aside for a second. That wasn't actually Osama Bin Laden dressed as Santa Claus on Troy's show. That was actually me, guys, in case you were there. But
Drew Huntley gave me $10. He says, "Bo's Nanza theme with intro. We might get around to that." But thank you for the money. I wasn't. Hold on, we actually watch this now. So this is this is Dan Mintz. This is nervous white girl comedy.
All right, let's see this. Let me see.
I remember
him. If I look at him, I might remember who he is. I watched a lot of stand up when I was young. Oh yeah, I remember this guy.
Yeah.
I took this girl to dinner, and I heard that women like it when you order for them. So I was like, I'll have the special, and she's not going to eat anything tonight.
That's good.
A lot of the time, I think I have a really good idea, but then it turns out it's actually not a good idea. Like, I was really hungry, and I wanted a personal chef, but I couldn't afford one. So I had the idea to start a business that's like a timeshare thing for personal chefs, where a bunch of people pool their money, and you just use the chef when you need one. And I was really excited, and then I realized that I just invented the restaurant.
Good, very good.
When people say that Superman is faster than a speeding bullet, you really have to use the word speeding. I just saw this guy who's faster than a bullet. Oh, you mean like a bullet I gently toss across the room? No, a speeding bullet. I'm sorry, I should have clarified. My parents are getting kind of old and sick. I think I'm going to have to put them in a nursing home. I feel really bad, though, because I live with my parents, and I don't want to live in a nursing home.
Good timing right there. We're just doing it.
Look at the way the camera.
But one thing I learned recently is when you go on an airplane, don't hide your weed in a gun.
Hell yeah, dude.
This is groundbreaking for the time.
This is so good.
Yeah.
Everyone at work thinks I'm crazy because I come to work every day wearing a spacesuit. But you dress for the job you want, not the job you have. I went to this massage parlor, and there's a really embarrassing moment when I asked for a happy ending, and I found out they only give legitimate massages at West Valley Hospital Chiropractic Clinic.
It's so good.
But I'm jealous of kids today. It's so much easier to masturbate now than it used to be. When I was a kid, you had to go find the Sears catalog, go to the lingerie section. Now the internet, I just go to my computer, go online, go right to Sears.com.
Dude, I remember that joke right there. I do remember that joke right there.
Dude.
So good. So good.
Today was a sad day. I had to pull the plug on my grandmother because I really need the outlet for my laptop. I was reading this STD pamphlet, and it said that when you sleep with someone, you're also sleeping with every person they've ever had sex with. If that's true, I've had sex with 0 people.
Yes.
They say you're not supposed to go to the grocery store when you're hungry, but I ran out of food like a week ago, and every day I get hungrier and hungrier.
Very nice.
You say that.
My mom always says she wishes I was never born. But I don't think that's true, because if I was never born, she'd have a 26-year-old man living inside her uterus. I went to one of those police auctions where they sell everything they confiscate from criminals. It was really cool. For $200, I got a kilo of coke and a kidnapped girl.
It is a good misdirect because
I've
I'm
been
trying to
married
catch
for
him
2 years. My wife didn't tell me until this week that she's a prostitute. And then, just when I'm finally starting to be okay with it, she gave me a bill for $85,000. Right, thank you.
Damn, dude. You know what? That is as good as I remember. That was so funny.
Yeah, he did a good job. The misdirects are good. And I mean, if it held up, then at the time that was groundbreaking because people weren't doing that. I mean, it's kind of like Stephen Wright, I guess.
There's not a lot of people that do that.
The slow one-liners. There's not a lot of people that can pull it off. Slow one-liners.
It's funny how few people do silly comedy. Like that's such like silly joke writing.
A lot of it's storytelling nowadays, or at least the stuff that I run into.
Yeah, it's very rare that somebody is just like, I have these really silly jokes I want to tell. Which, well, you would think like most comedians would do shit like that, but no, comedians are like, let me tell you about my day.
Yeah, and it's so strange how people copy one another. Like for a long time, all I could hear was Louis C.K. when Shane was up.
Oh yeah,
and like I still can't. I went to the Skanks.
By the way, thank you Panda for the $2. Thank you Heihachi.
Super chats. Thank you Panda. Thank you Hachi. We got Lee Rector. Super chat.
Oh, nice. Lee Rector damn near killed her. 420. Thank you, Lee Rector. Yeah, dude.
But I kept hearing Dave Attell's voice in Jay, and it wasn't even his cadence. They just sound a lot alike. And I couldn't unhear it, and so I couldn't enjoy Jay's set. And I can't stand Bobby Kelly. And when he got up there, I was I was laughing. Like, he really got me. His stand-up is much better than his podcasting.
Oh, for sure.
His podcasting, I'm like, I don't understand how they keep him and Rich around. And then I do see, I haven't seen a good Rich stand-up yet, but I had an interaction with him in the bathroom in Vegas, and I actually liked him afterwards.
I listened to one of Rich's. I listened to one of Rich's CDs, and it was very good. I was like, he is very good at comedy club inside of a shopping mall stand-up comedy. Like,
yeah,
it was. I thought it was like a very tight performance. I was like, oh, for whatever reason he never hit it like really big, but he's a very good performer.
Dude, somehow he had to be good because Bonnie is just that damaged. Because it just seems like such a mixed match that those two ended up together. Because Bonnie's hilarious. She hasn't been as good, I think, since the babies. Maybe she's tired or she's not on the road. She's good on like podcasts and stuff where she's got the right people. But like her stand-up was like for a woman is pretty good. Like I've seen some good. I'm not even trying to say that in a bad way. It's just like she doesn't overcome her female. Like there's certain people that can overcome what they are. She hasn't overcome female to me. I'm trying to think of a female comedian that when I watch them, they just train. Jordan Jensen, I've seen twice live. And actually 3 times live now, twice in the front row. And she did transcend her gender to me. I was just like, she was just a really good.
I don't know if I necessarily co-sign all this. I mean, there's,
you don't have to co-sign that. I've seen her live a couple times. She worked well. It was recent. It was at Laugh Boston. It was at Skankfest. So I was in a happy mood. But she did transcend. I wasn't looking at her like I was looking at her like that's a comedian.
Yeah.
And I go to female shows. I've been to I've been to her friend, the other one there, who's a dude, Christina Hutchinson's show. I've been to Chloe's show like twice. Like go out of my way to go to see female comics when they come to the area.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, watching that clip just now, really made me fall in love with stand-up again.
You gonna get back in the ring? Eventually?
Yeah, I mean, whenever I'm like recovered.
Dude,
I'm still like, people probably don't know. I'm still pretty fucked up, like from an accident.
We know.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Here's the dream. Here's the dream, Dalton. You build a huge following here, right?
Yeah.
Then when you go tour, and actually, Shannon, mute this, cut this out of the show, Shannon. Then when you go on tour, all these idiots that are all your fans here will laugh at you even when you have bad jokes. You'll become like Chappelle. You won't know because you won't have a good sounding board. So you'll be making a fool out of yourself. And everybody will hate you, but your fans will love you.
I always enjoyed comedy a lot when it was just me having fun.
Yeah.
It really was like the pursuit of success that can like wear you down. But when I would just go to like a bar with my friends and they had an open mic and it was like a poet and a metal band and a rapper and then me.
Yeah.
That was I really like cherish those days, like those memories of like doing that because that was a lot of fun. It was like when I started going to comedy clubs and then like actively pursuing it and trying to like make it into a job.
Yeah.
That was like, oh, that's right. This is why you have hobbies and then you have a job.
Yeah, that's how I am with punk. When they wanted to take it serious, it turned into like something different. I went to go see Skanks when they did their little tour up here. They were Boston, Mohegan Sun, Connecticut, and they were in New Hampshire. And they put like on a fun mini variety show where they each did stand up. They had a special guest, and then they kind of like did a live podcast and some other stuff. And they must have not made any money, but I could totally see like how badass would it be in like a year or two when you guys got a good fan base, you and Robbie like doing stand up.
By the way,
Crack doing some music.
Thank you for the money. I don't know if I'm pulling up any more clips. We're about to thank you for the $5. Hey, Archie, mention me I've got to go to bed soon.
Yeah,
so
Dalton's gonna die of a heart attack. But
I don't know if I have it in me. Put a pin in that. We will watch that clip later. We're gonna wrap up this up soon.
Well, I was just gonna say, can you imagine you guys go on a little mini tour, right? You do like a variety show. So you got Crack singing some music, you and Robbie doing like some stand-up, you do a little podcast. Maybe Drew comes along, does a little bit of Dork Court or whatever. You can put like a little road show together with all the
vaudeville, dude. We're gonna do a little vaudeville tour,
dude. It's so fun. I like instead of saying, oh, I'm just coming just for stand-up, which is good and it is a show, but it's very cut and dry. Like the MC comes out, blah blah blah. When it's more of like a variety show and you don't know what's next, I think it can work with the right group of people. And like I said, when Skanks did it, they must have not made money on it, but because they didn't repeat it again, like in other parts of the country. But I had a blast at the live Skank variety show that they did a couple months before Skankfest last year up in New Hampshire and stuff.
I remember when we were doing the Loud Boys, we booked a show in Chicago. And I was just like so excited to be doing live comedy at a club. We were booked. We were the feature, the big show for that night. That it didn't occur to me until much later that I lost a considerable amount of money just doing that show. Traveling to Chicago, getting a hotel, the expenses while I'm there, and then what I was actually paid. There was no chance that I was making money on that, but I was just so enthusiastic about just getting to perform. And that's most of comedy, is being so excited about doing it that it's not until decades later that you realize you could have much more money if you hadn't wasted it all pursuing your dreams.
Yeah, that's basically what, like when I was doing the band or whatever, that's basically all it was. By the time like we get out there, you move all the shit and all that stuff, you're really just playing. I mean, we were playing for free for most of it, but or for drinks. When you first started getting free drinks, and I didn't even drink, it was just cool to be like, I could get free drinks if I wanted to because I'm with the band and I'm backstage. And that's like the first thing of just being excited. And then it grows from there. And then you're just getting to travel for free. And you're just happy that you get to travel and meet people for free.
Dog, I don't know how anybody in music makes money. Like the cost of equipment, and travel and just like the logistics. It's baffling to me that any band ever turned that into a profitable venture.
You can do it nowadays, I think, with like the right marketing and the right independent stuff. And like Tom McDonald, and I know like Crack and them don't necessarily like his music or whatever, and they think he's kind of a sellout. But if you look at what he did with his independent label, each one of his fans, they have the pre-release of the albums. He sends out hard albums. He signs every album for their fan. They get an autograph. It's got real artwork in it that's done by his girlfriend who does all the videography. So as far as like an experience one-on-one with an artist, he's working really hard to create like physical content, the video content, the experience with the crowd. And it's all like family based, like his sisters.
Look at me. You can give me money directly here.
Yes. They have the super chats, considering this is like our third time like in a row doing this. And the super chat's a lot of control now compared to when I'm normally on.
Very grateful that, you
guys kick ass.
Considering all the things anybody can do on a Saturday, that people tune in here Saturday night, give me money. They hang out. It's pretty cool. It's a really sweet gig, and it's one of the joys of a technological and digital age. As many woes as we experience in this new cyber realm, there's also a lot to be grateful for.
Yeah.
But we do live in a completely carceral surveillance state in which we have no real freedoms or privacy, folks.
I was going to say,
end the Federal Reserve.
And the Federal Reserve. How about a good time for you to do like a prayer of gratitude, and we'll end this. And everybody have a good Christmas. We'll see you after the holidays.
Yes, everybody, bow your heads. We'll do a quick just prayer of thanks here. Father God, thank you for another day on this earth. They're not promised to us. We never know if we're gonna, have one. So it's always great to be above ground and breathing air in our lungs. Thank you for bringing us together. Thank you for this time in which we get to rejoice in one another's company and camaraderie and friendship and brotherhood and sisterhood. We just want to say thank you for this life. It is as difficult as it can be sometimes. It can be a real blessing. Thank you. It's the Christmas season is here, and we thank you for sending your son to make the ultimate sacrifice for our sins, so that we can achieve righteousness and the kingdom of heaven. So it's in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
Amen. We love you guys, everybody, everybody in the chat, all the white people, and all the. Please come back next week.
Put a pin in the clips. We gotta do the Bonanza theme and some stand-up clip, and then a song from a video game. So just remind me next time. Thank you, everybody. I love you, and please be safe. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry Christmas specifically. That's the only one. Good night.
Good night.